Hey, what's up, my BMX nerd friends? Welcome back to another episode of Kanode Knows, brought to you by DIGBMX. This week's guest needs no introduction. His name is Trey Jones. So I guess that's an introduction. He's a living legend, and he's a great example of just do you. He's fucking weird. He's a weird Florida man, and he's also an incredible human being. We get into everything, like being a homeowner, his history in BMX, who he looks up to, how much of a headache, or it's not a headache, but the process of putting together Swampfest, how it's evolved, and the current state of BMX affairs. I think that covers it. It was a longer conversation. I really enjoyed it. Trey, thanks for coming on. And to all you listeners out there, all you nerds, please keep the messages coming. I really appreciate them. And make sure you smash like and subscribe. You know the vibes. That's enough for me. Let's get into this conversation with none other than Trey Jones. What's up, Trey Jones? When's the last time you drank soda? I got an honorary Dr. Pepper for you.
I'm definitely not innocent of like not drinking any soda at all, but I haven't drank I went from drinking probably like 8 to 12 cans of soda a day to none probably 4 years ago now.
Hell
Like
yeah. Are you trying to get in better physical shape? Are you in better physical shape? I can't tell.
No, I didn't do anything. I think everybody was just like, I remember going on trips with Dak and stuff like that, like when I was super young, and I was just like this white trash, Florida kid, and like I was just drinking soda and eating pizza for every single meal, and everybody was like freaking out, like, you can't do that. You're gonna ruin your life, blah 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 blah. You're gonna feel like shit. And when I stopped drinking soda, I was like, all right, hell yeah, I'm about to feel great. This is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna feel awesome, and nothing happened. And I was like, damn, dude, everybody was telling me how when I stop drinking soda, I'm gonna feel this like I'm gonna
this
turn
magical,
like this superhuman,
this clarity.
Nothing happened. But I drank so much soda and so much caffeine and so much sugar for so long that like my body is like, that's like the normal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I went from drinking like probably like 8 to 12 cans of soda a day, like I said, to where it's like my body still requires like a lot of caffeine, but I don't drink coffee at all. So I'll drink like a Red Bull like twice a day, which is still bad. And I'm not saying like, and by the way, like, I'm not saying like I'm the modern health. I just don't drink 12 sodas a day. I drink 2 Red Bulls instead, which is still shitty.
Yeah.
Well,
what kind of, are we talking sugar-free Red Bulls or
no,
Red Bull, just regular OG Red Bulls?
Yeah.
Okay, we got to get the sugar in, That's what it is.
Honestly, man, like I really don't give a shit. Like it's whatever. Like
I wonder how long it'll take you to like maybe 10 more years of doing. If you drink the soda and the pizza for another 15 years, you might lose a foot from diabetes. Or who knows? You could be like a fucking freak of nature and just digest just the perfect Florida American, Just like, I don't know. You're gonna live until you're 100 drinking sodas and eating pizza.
Yeah, people are, I don't know. Like I don't even think I really even knew about like health shit or even like thought about it until I started like going on road trips like out in California and stuff.
Yeah, with all those hipsters.
And people were like taking care of themselves, and I was like, the hell, this is crazy.
Why are you stretching, bro?
Like I didn't get it at all, like, and because growing up, like my dad drinks like 1 million Diet Cokes a day, and so does my mom, and it was just like we ate at McDonald's, and it was just like, you know what I mean? Like it was never like a thought of like, if you eat healthier, you feel better. And now it's like so like it's like forced down your throat with the amount of people that are into health. Like, no offense, like not at all. It's just the amount of people that are just like, dude, I started taking these supplements and now I'm a superhuman. Like, yeah, I mean, cool, if that works for you. Like,
are you following JJ?
I mean, whatever, if that's what he's stoked on, like that's cool.
I know, he's super passionate about it. It's pretty fun to watch, dude, because he's on some shit. Like he's taking these capsules of worms that supposedly like clean out your gut bacteria or whatever, and I'm like, that's one step further than I'm willing to go, dude. I'll do the fasting thing, and I just want to eat meat and vegetables, and that's it.
Well, it was funny because when I was just in Barcelona with Simo, we were like out riding, and he's like, "Oh, there's the McDonald's, let's go!" And I was like, "All right, let's do it." And he went, and he's like, "Oh my god," like he's like, "We're so not healthy. This is awesome." Like he's Mister like anti everything, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like he's anti-health, like he's just like, yeah, this is sick. We're so like, yeah, dude, like, yes, whatever. Like, it's just the way I was raised. Like, so I don't really care. Like, I'm just like, yeah, that's what works for you, whatever. But
Dude, eating McDonald's after not eating it for a while feels like you're doing something like it's exactly like that. Just like, ooh, look at us go. We eating a McDonald's burger. Well, fuck diets. I want to know, dude, were you in this hurricane? How was it? Did it affect you? You live in Orlando,
yeah, I live
right?
in Longwood,
Longwood,
right?
Longwood.
I live in Longwood, which is right outside of Orlando, and um, yeah, it
What
was
was it
pretty
like?
bad. It was gnar. Like, usually, usually with I mean, obviously I've grown up here, so the hurricane stuff is pretty normal. But usually they're like, on the news, like, all right, might be a hurricane. And like 2 days before, they're like, it's the worst, it's gonna kill everybody, blah, 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 blah. And then everybody goes out, they buy all the gas, they buy all the water, they buy all the shit, and then it comes through and it's just like rains for 2 days and some trees fall over and that's it, and that's usually
Yeah.
what it is. And this one is like, I was in Philly, and Kelsey called me, my wife, and she was like, hey, there's this hurricane coming, like, I don't know what you guys are doing. And me and Dave were like, no, it's fine, it'll just be some rain, you're fine. And then like we're driving, and I was like, Dave's like, hey, did you see like the news report about this? Like, I think it's gonna be like pretty bad. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, it says it's gonna hit South Florida like a category 4. They only go to 5. And I was like, whoa,
Shit.
that's pretty gnarly. Like, damn. I was like, well, where's the path say it's going? He goes, right through Orlando. I was like, oh shit. So I was like, maybe we should go home. Like, and we started going, and it was like, when we got to Florida, there was no gas. Like, there was no
Pure
nothing.
panic.
Like, we had to like, because that's what people do. They freak out because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. I get it. Like, whatever. Like, but a lot of people like overly freak out.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it came right through Orlando, and we didn't get it too bad. It was just mostly like the amount of water was crazy. Like, I mean, it rains every day in Florida, like in the summertime, and we can handle a lot of water. I mean, it's like there's lakes and shit everywhere. Like, water, when it rains, all the water is gone. Like, you don't see it. This was like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, my backyard, like, I have a deck that's like built up on a 2x6, so it's probably 5.5 inches off the ground, and like my whole backyard, like, was just like, it was just water, like
Crazy.
right up to the edge of the deck.
Yeah.
And I was like looking out, and like it was going out my side gate and like to the road, and it was like shin deep water, and just like and I don't even know where it was coming from. Like, it was literally just coming from, I knew it was coming from the sky, but it was just like, it's like, where's all this, like, what's going on? And luckily it came up just to the edge of my deck, and it didn't flood my house. But like my buddy Dave McDermott, his house was like knee deep in water, like out near the beach.
Yeah.
And all of Sparky's had like ankle deep water throughout the whole place.
That's what I saw a picture of, like, Ronnie and I think you and Sher hanging out outside of the Sparky's building, and I was like, damn, I wonder what happened there. Like,
yeah, the whole building like flooded, like probably like ankle deep water around in there.
so fucked.
Bunch of bikes got messed up. But it was crazy because usually when the hurricanes come in, they come in from the ocean. It like pulverizes whatever coast it hits, and then once it gets on land, it kind of fizzles out. This was so gnarly. It hit like Fort Myers, which is like way down south, like almost like near the Everglades on the west coast, like Gulf of Mexico side. It came through there and literally devastated it. Like, it's like it looks like a nuclear bomb went off. Like,
Fuck.
buildings flattened, it's like insane.
Those are the people who would evacuate. Those are the ones who are like, you better get out, right?
Yeah, that's what they say, because it's like we've had a few hurricanes in Florida. Like Hurricane Andrew in the 90s was like really bad, like near like Miami area. So that's like real in Katrina, obviously, like seeing that. So now everybody's like really freaked out. Like everybody's like, oh my God. Like, but it came through and it hit Fort Myers, and then it kind of fucked up Orlando. And then it was so big that it messed up like Daytona, like the opposite coast of Florida. Like the hurricane was so big that it messed up both coasts.
It just did all of it. Yeah.
I've never heard of that before. Like it literally came through and wiped out like most of the state, you know what I mean? But it's weird with hurricanes because it's like you'll drive down one road and it's like trees down everywhere and it's crazy. And then you drive down another road and there's nothing. Like it's just like some branches on the ground. So it's like it's weird how some areas got it really, 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 really bad, and then some areas are like fine. Like my neighborhood was okay. There's a lot of water, but like I drove out towards like my mom's house, like 20 minutes away, and there was a whole billboard that had fallen over, like an entire like, and it's like how is it even possible that like a billboard can fall over, but like I have these little Halloween gravestones in my front yard as decorations that didn't fall over.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's like how does that? So it's there's unpredictable, but we got out of it all right, and there are a lot of people that are pretty messed up. I mean, like I said, Dave's houses.
Yeah, I know. I can't even imagine like the cost of redoing your entire flooring or getting all that shit out. That sucks, dude.
Well, like Dave living near the beach, he has to have flood insurance.
Nice.
So
Okay.
luckily flood insurance. And what happens is that like FEMA is like a big, I don't know what they are, I guess a big company like funded by the government that like goes in and helps out like devastated areas. So like they come in and they're pretty much like just going through every neighborhood, like, hey, you know, if you need help, this is who you contact, blah blah blah. So there's a lot of government assistance. So like luckily, like, you know,
That's
I think
dope.
a lot of people, but like regular insurance doesn't cover flooding. So it's like Sparky's doesn't have flood insurance, so it's like that all comes out of pocket. You know what I mean? So it depends. Like if my house would have flooded, I would have been screwed because regular homeowners insurance doesn't cover flooding in the state of Florida.
I wonder why. I wonder why they're like, well, we'll cover everything except for the thing that's probably going to happen. You know,
it's crazy, but I mean, like I said, we can't. I survived it. Okay, so but yeah, there's a lot of people that are pretty screwed up. We're actually going to Fort Myers tomorrow to go ride because we're going to go try to find.
I saw on your Instagram hurricane spot searching.
Yeah, well, we went out to the other coast. We found like a few things. All the really bad shit gets cleaned up pretty fast, you know. But we found. I got sent a photo of like this tree that fell onto a house. So it was like a tree that went up onto a roof, and then you could go back down.
Very rare.
Like, oh my God, I found out like that night, and then we went the next day and it was already cut down.
Damn.
Because like usually the bad shit, they're already cutting it down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Fort Myers in South Florida, it's like 3 hours away. That's where it's like really bad, and we're all gonna go tomorrow and see if we can find some stuff, because it's like once in a lifetime opportunity, you know what I mean? It's like obviously I'm not gonna ride somebody's house that's like, you know, devastated or whatever, but if we can find like a hotel that has like some weird broken concrete or something like that, like who knows? Exactly. I have no idea what we're gonna find, but
temporary spots, that's fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun, no fun.
What about it?
Congrats for being nominated. That shit was cool.
Thank you. It's first time for me. Never been nominated for Nora Cup, so I was pretty hyped on that.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I had a little bit of stiff competition with Lewis Mills, but it's all right.
And Dennis, like
I was like, I'm honored to be nominated, but there's no way in hell I'm winning this.
Yeah, Lewis was definitely. I don't even know how to describe that one. Just game changer or whatever. It deserved it. Lewis deserved it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
But you know, everybody in it was awesome. How long did that project take?
So I'll just give you the whole.
Give me the spiel.
The whole spiel of it. So I obviously wanted to film a part. I wanted to film a part where I went on like 3 or 4 trips, and the thing is that's asking a lot of your sponsor, you know, to like fund something like that. To be like, hey, Ronnie, I want to go on 4 trips for 1 video part, just me, and you got to pay a filmer. You know what I mean? It's like it's a lot of money, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what if I can get all my sponsors to pitch in a little bit of money, and then that way we have money to go on these trips, You get a hotel each place. Like, when like Chadwick came here to Florida, he stayed at my house. We did it super cheap. I went to Arizona. We did it super cheap. Went and stayed with Casey in Portland. We did it super cheap. The only time we ever actually stayed in hotels was we went up to the Northeast. But so we did the whole project super cheap. And then I was like, obviously, like, I get paid to be a pro bike rider. So I make money. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to make money off this part, but like Chadwick is a filmer. That's what he does for work. When he does a project, he needs to make money. So I was like, all right, well, if we do a paid part, that money can go to him. So he gets paid for doing the part. I get a part out of it. All the sponsors get recognition. Like
Everybody wins.
I think this could work.
Yeah.
And we kind of just like, me and Chad, we kind of just figured out like what we wanted to do as far as like, okay, like I want to do a Florida trip, I want to do a Phoenix trip, I want to do a Portland trip, and I want to do a Northeast trip.
Out of all those trips, which one was your favorite? Because I feel like you've been everywhere. You've done this pro BMX thing for quite a long time.
Probably the Northeast one, just because we rode so much crazy shit. The Arizona one was cool though too. Like that was like one of those trips where it was just like everything was working. Like every spot we went to, every trick worked. Like it was just like,
yeah,
it was like, sometimes you go on those trips and it's just like, it just works,
Yeah.
And that Arizona one was probably that one. So it was 4 trips total. And we did it over the course of about a year, maybe. But we only did like probably 7 to 10 days each trip. And
let's linger on Arizona. What's up, Melvin?
And so Arizona was sick.
Let's stay there for a second, because the clips there, because Chadwick was hitting me up for a couple of spots that like are literally impossible to ride except for Trey Jones. Like the curved wall that was like hidden into the wall that has a rock. John Mata basically.
The blue one.
Yeah.
The blue one. Yeah.
I've been there with a homie, and he tried to just make it around it, and it's just so tight, so difficult, and you managed to trick out, which is fucking awesome. So
it took me a minute just to jump into it, like, because it was so tight and the roof is so low.
Yeah.
And the run up is so bad into it that I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen when I hit the I don't really know. And actually took a bunch of run ups at it, like trying to figure out like how to wiggle my way in there. Yeah. And I got in like once and got shot out, and I was like, oh, it'll work. Cool. Because I was like putting my bike in there, and it's like,
it doesn't seem like it would work.
Yeah, when it gets so tight, your bike doesn't go like this. It just goes, you know what I mean? It doesn't just like, it just rolls around in a circle. And that's what it kind of was. So I didn't know what to expect.
And it's fucking sick to see.
I got into it a few times, and I was like, I think I get 180 out of it, and I got the 180 out, and yeah, it was cool. I honestly looked through a lot of the happy medium videos for spots.
Yeah.
Which is a skate video, obviously, people skate video that a bunch of dudes do in Phoenix.
They are the whole reason that I started filming BMX. Like, Mediocre at Best is because I was at the first Happy Medium premiere, and I saw what they did, and I was like, I want to do that. Anyway, their
videos are awesome.
Top notch.
They're like, and it's like super unique. It's super different. Yeah. Obviously, I watch a lot of all the Mediocre stuff. I watched all the Happy Medium stuff, and just like other Phoenix videos. But I like trying to ride skate spots because a lot of people don't ride them. You know what I mean? Or like the stuff that I'm looking for is so ridiculous that it's like, I'm not going to go to Baseball Ledges and try to do, bar pegs, hard 180 backlash, like that shit's cool, but it's like that, I can't do that, like and it's like, I feel like once it starts happening, like I rode that bowl.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. The elevated bowl, dude.
So Loop was like, he's like, hey, I think that there's this bowl thing. And I have the worst memory. Obviously, he has the best memory, so he'll probably be able to remember it a lot better than I will. Yeah. But I think that we were like, I forgot where we were. I don't know. We were somewhere, and he was like, He was like, yeah, I think there's like a bowl on a roof somewhere. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, it's like a cereal bowl, but it's up in the air. And I was like, he's like, I think it's right here. And we just like went to it. And I was like, why didn't you tell me about this? Why have I not been here before? And he's like, I don't know. It kind of sucks. Like, I'm like, yeah, but like for me, like I would love this thing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's one problem I have in Arizona is that when I go there, nobody likes to ride this stuff that I like to ride. So it's hard to like when somebody's like, oh yeah, that's right. There's like this quarter pipe thing. And we go and it's like the sickest spot ever. Yeah. They're like, yeah, I forgot about this thing. And I'm like, how? How do you forget about this? Like a bowl, literally a perfect bowl, not perfect, but it's a bowl on a roof. You know?
It is a crazy spot. When I saw somebody ride it on Instagram, I think last year for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck is that? You know? And then
yeah, the Kink dudes went like literally 2 weeks after we were there, and I was like, and I knew that I just did an air on it. Yeah. So I was like, fuck, I hope nobody does anything on this thing because I really want, because like we got the photo is so cool, and like just the spot itself, and I was like, I really hope someone doesn't just do like a bar spin on it because it'll make my clip like irrelevant because all I did was air it,
which is buck, dude, because just even getting into it, I can't, like I remember looking at like getting onto it and I'm like, no thank you, like that's so scary. You're just like literally 25 feet off the ground in this weird, not full transition bowl. Like you're bunny hopping to air it. You're not.
No, it's like airing banked. It. Like
yeah,
inside of it is
wild.
Like it's like banked like this.
Yeah.
Like banked like this, and it has flat bottom it. So it's like it's not. So I had to like carve around it in a circle and then like dip down and kind of like go up. And I was like, I just want like one maxed out air where like I pushed it as far as I could and like that's it, you know?
That's it.
Like,
yeah. So what was the idea? So like when you're at that spot before you get into the bowl, what was the thought? Because there is like possibility for a wall ride.
And yeah, then like there is
disaster
the wall
type thing. I think those were talked about, or no?
Yeah, like we went and I was like, man, this spot's sick. Like I want to get a trick on it. Like, and that's like a lot of my shit that I do is like, I just find like a spot and I'm like, I just want to like do something on the spot. Like, it's not like, I can't go to a flat ledge and like push myself. Like, I'm just trying to like find a spot that's weird.
Yeah.
So we went there and I was like, I mean, dude, I only got like 3 tricks, period. Like I got like the tabletop, the toboggan, and a tuck no hander. That's about it. Like I can't, there's not much else in my repertoire that I can do, period. And I was like, the wall ride is cool, but it's like it was so close it was so awkward that it was like I would just be like, don't, like I wasn't gonna like jump out wall ride and pull back in. Yeah, it was gonna be like a really shitty wall ride, like not anything good
with a big risk.
Like, what's that?
With a big risk.
Yeah, but it was so close. Like I'm not kidding you, dude. It was probably this far. It was probably this far from the wall. Like it was really close.
Okay.
Where like it wasn't really a wall ride. And I wanted to do a trick on the death side, like on the side that like had the biggest drop on it.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, oh, if I can get like a photo, like airing it from the ground, like going out.
So good. Yeah.
And I did like an over pedal stall on it, and I was like, that's not really that cool.
Did that not make it in it?
What's that?
That didn't end up in the video?
No, I just did it like messing around. Like I just did like a 180 disaster, and I was like, no, it's not. And then I kind of started messing around with the air, but it was weird because it's such a tight radius.
Yeah.
It's a bank. So like when you go up and you bunny hop, it's like it's not anything. Like you know, it's like it looks like shit. And I was like, if I can get one where I pull back really hard and like almost like loop out and like kind of get like a little nosedive.
Yeah.
Like I had it in my head of like what I wanted, like the air. And I did like, I was messing around with it and I was like, no, it's not right. And I did one where I was like, yo, I like almost nose cased. And I was like, that's it. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. So then I started figuring it out. And then I did one where I was like, really, like, I really yoked it. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm stoked. So.
It's pretty rad to get a clip on that thing. And then the other question that I had is how many shoes did it take to, I've driven past this fountain, dude. So this fountain is not even a spot, but I'm sure Like, how did that spot get brought up? Did Chadwick like say, "Hey, there's this impossible curved wall red," or
Yeah.
were you driving past
So
it?
we were just riding around or not riding around, we were driving. I believe it's in Scottsdale. I believe
Mm-hmm.
it's Scottsdale, maybe City Hall or something like that, a municipality building. I don't know. It's something like that.
Yeah.
And we were just driving down whatever road that was, and it was like nighttime. And like we drove past it, and Chadwick's like, "Oh my god, I think I just saw the craziest spot." And like we
Nice.
went past it, and I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, "I don't know. It might be something, but I don't know." And I was like, "Well, let's go look at it." And we turned around, and I was like, "Oh my god, dude, this is the like I was like," and Chad was like, "I think it's possible," because like I was feeling the wall, and it's like typical Arizona, like super grippy.
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, I think it's like I think like
Fuck, people
not
have no idea how fucked that is in person, dude. It's
like
so crazy.
not that, and I not saying that like I think I could do this. Like I was like, I think that this is possible. Like I
Yeah.
think somebody could
But
do
I
it.
mean, be honest, like if anybody in the BMX world could do it, it would be a Trey Jones, you know?
Yeah, but Eric Elstrin could do it.
Yeah,
Like
facts.
he's
Yeah.
like, like he's a dude that pushes curve hard shit like to another level
Yeah.
of like what's possible. Like he's by far
He's a magician.
more capable than I. But
But
like, but I went or we so I was on a 10-day trip. That was the first trip for the video, and I was like, all right, well, let's come back the last day, and I'll give it some goes because I know I'm gonna soak everything I'm wearing,
yeah.
and I only had two pairs of shoes with me. So, but the thing is that you have to like, since it's a circle like this, and you're gonna jump it, like you kind of have to like, it's so hard to explain. Like you gotta jump like at an angle and like out past it, and then catch the transition, and then so you had to jump like I had to hop
Far.
8 feet, like just to get to the wall. And
Yeah.
then when you hit the wall, it's water. And
Yeah.
there was like all these pipes that were sticking up like out of the ground, like in under the water.
Yeah.
It was kind of
Danger.
scary. Like I didn't really want to like fall in it. Like, and it was so awkward. It was like a nightmare. And like so I went there and I was like, I need to at least just bunny hop like into the water just to see what it is. And I hopped it once and landed in the water. And I was like, all right, I get one more try. And I hopped it again. It was like not even close. And I was like, shit. All right. Well, so fast forward like a year later, we did Battle of the Brands in Arizona, like with I think it was Shadow or Sabrosa. I don't know which one it was. One of the teams.
Okay.
And I think it was Shadow. And I was like, damn, dude, I could stay an extra 2 days and we could try to get that trick. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'm down. And I texted Colin McKay and Andrew Mapstone at Vans, and I was like, hey, I was like, this might sound crazy, but I need like 10 pairs of shoes
Yeah.
for a trick I'm trying. And he was like, what? And I was like, there's this curb wall ride over a fountain. I was like, if I do it, it's gonna be like the banger of my video. I was like, I need 10 pairs of shoes, and I'll just keep them afterwards. I won't need shoes for a while. And they were like, I have no idea what we're talking about. Or okay, sounds good.
There you go.
And so I get like half off at the Vans store. So I just went, I just bought 10 pairs of shoes and just gave Vans a receipt for it, and they just reimbursed me for it.
Nice.
And so I loaded up all the shoes, and I was like, all right, like I kind of like went like a little bit prepared where I was like, okay, I'm gonna like have all these shoes. I'm gonna put the shoes on, try it once, get wet, take them off. Cause that's like the one thing that like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without dry shoes. It was like
Right. Yeah.
really impossible. And so I would try it once, change the shoes, and I would just like have like a rotation going where it's like I would try it once, put a new pair of shoes on, try it again, put a new pair of shoes on, try it again. And then by the time I would get through 10 tries, the first pair
is dry
were
again.
dry. They were dry because of we were in Arizona and it was like April or May or something like that. So it was pretty hot at that point.
Yeah.
So like they would dry out, and then
so how many tries?
So
how many rounds through the 10 shoes?
I'm not very good at like just saying fuck it and trying something like and sending it. Like I'm super like ease into things.
Yeah.
Like, okay, hop it halfway, hop it a few times like that. Okay, now I'm gonna try to kind of get the wall. So like I probably tried it like 35 times, 40
Hot
times,
damn. Yeah.
like hopping in. And it got to the point where I jumped and I stick and I went into the water, and I was like, all right, Wick, I'm going all the way. Like, I'm gonna try to see what happens. Cause like every try I would like just touch it and go in the water, touch it and go in the water. Like not even like not go around, nothing. Like it was like just literally like I was just jumping into a fountain. And I jumped in and it caught, and it was just like I remember like sticking and being like, oh my God, I'm on it. And I was like, I stuck to it, and I was like, just don't put your foot down, whatever you do going out of this thing. Like just hold on to it. And I just like, and I just like hopped out and landed. I was like, oh my God, I just found it. Like it was honestly,
I did it.
Like it went from like not even being close to just like, I went right out, and that was
Fuck
it.
yeah.
That's why it's so like sick. That's why in the clip chat it's like holy fuck, because like I went from, like I said, not being close to like doing it. It was kind of crazy. So and then that was it. I was like, that's banger, done. Like that's, fuck yeah. That's but we did the Northeast trip. Did we do after that? I think we did the Northeast trip after that, which is where I rode like those crazy pipes and the indoor pool and all that stuff was in the Northeast. Yeah. We drove from Florida to like PA and then back.
That's dope. A year of adventure with Chadwick.
Yeah, and it was great, man. Like I'm stoked. Like it's like I said, like it's asking a lot for one company to front 4 trips just for you and a filmer, like that's a big investment on their part. And I was like, I'm not gonna just like sit around and wait for an opportunity to come my way. Like I'm not just gonna like I'm 30 now. Like I'm not just gonna sit here and be like, well, I guess I'll just sit here until somebody gives me an opportunity to film a part. It's like I got to go out and get that shit myself, like so.
Dude, that's huge. I think like any young kid listening, take that, do that. Like I think a lot of kids are like, I'm sponsored now, like give me a chance. But you can just make shit happen, or at least take the initiative to try and make shit happen.
Well, that's what like I tell other kids that I'm around or whatever that are sponsored or anybody, that it's like you can't control what the brand does, like who they sponsor, what trips they go on. Like all you can control is what you're getting out of it. Like, you know what I mean? If you're like, oh, I want a colorway, or oh, I want to do this trip, like, write an email, hey, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And if they say no, be like, well, what can I do to make this happen?
Yeah.
Like what do you need from me in order for me to get a colorway? And if they're like, well, you need to put out 2 parts in this, I'm like, all right, cool, that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like to get sponsored is like you're like kissing their ass as the brand to get to that point. And then once you become a pro, it's like they're supposed to kiss your ass to like make your career go further.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a partnership. I'm not saying it's like I'm not saying the brand needs to just like, do whatever I say. No,
yeah.
I'm just saying like as an AM and a flow guy, it's like you gotta like you're at the mercy of where there's thousands of people behind you that are ready for the opportunity. So it's like it's up to you to fucking
make it happen. Yeah.
But it's but that mentality doesn't change as a pro bike rider. You know what I mean? It's like, especially for me personally, because I'm not that good, like statistically, like I'm not like super talented as a bike rider per se. Like I'm not on a Dennis Henderson level or whatever, but it's like, if I want to get those things out of riding, like I have to make that happen.
And do it your way.
Like I have to realize what I'm good at and like capitalize on that, like, and it's like going to a Vans contest and eating shit. Like I'm not gonna win.
Yeah, you did become the most viral meme of that whole contest.
Yeah, that was quite
that's on my little list right here. What was it like?
I knew that shit was gonna. I mean, I brought it up, but I knew that was.
What was it like to be a celebrity or an internet meme for a day?
Oh God, that was out of control.
Or a couple of days, dude. Like I saw it got reposted by like all the big meme pages, like World Star and all that shit.
Yeah, it was crazy. I definitely didn't expect that to happen. Like so a lot of people like they're wondering like what the fuck I was thinking. Like what? Like what's going on? Like because the clip is so confusing. It's like the clip is so confusing of like what is going on. So I wanted to do something best trick. It was during the best trick jam, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna go out and win best trick. I just want to do something cool that is my style. That's all I want to do. Like I want to go out there and do something that's me. And I was like, all right, I'll try a gap out of the park or something fucking gimmicky thing that I would do that it's not that hard, but I would do it. And I was like, and me and Marcel were at the course that morning, and I was like, oh dude, I think I could jump like out of this over that railing. And he was like, because it wasn't that far. It was probably like 10-15 feet. It wasn't like really that far, but it was a long flat wall, and then it went into a pocket, and then it went in that down ledge thing. And there was that transition box that was before it. And I was like, all right, yeah, I can just get speed by going over this transition box, and I'll kind of like go out of the quarter and shoot out of the quarter, carving, and like go up and over that fence. Cause like whenever you're like, if you're like going fast in a bowl or whatever, and like you pop out, like you can kind of like just go to angle out of a flat wall, and like you can jump far, like really far.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll just do that. I'll cruise out over it, whatever. Because there was an area that was like perfect. Like there was no chairs, there was no nothing. It was like a perfect setup, So I'm like waiting in the best trick thing, and I'm like, all right, I'll wait till like just around the end and I'll try it. And so I go out there and I do like one speed check, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, damn, I can't get speed over this like little box thing because I had to go so fast. I couldn't get up and over it fast enough to make the gap. So I had to go from like the lifeguard tower, which is like, it's like the tranny box thing was like this, and then this other lip was over here. So I had to transfer from this lip over, land, and then do the gap.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I hadn't done that gap before. Like, so I literally rolled in and just started death pedaling, and I jumped that gap. And what happened was when I jumped it, I went really far to the right, way far to the right. So when I landed, I was like in the pocket. Like I was like looking up the ramp, and I was in, like the flat wall was over here.
And then where you wanted to go is way over here.
And I was like, dude, I'm going too fast. Fuck it. Like it's not that far. Like I can make it, like I can just push through it, just like muscle it through it.
Yeah.
And when I hit it, instead of like shooting like this, I went like up, and it like bucked me like backwards like this. So like when I hit it, I went burn. I came backwards, and that's why like I crashed into all those chairs and shit, because I was supposed to land like 4 feet out further where there was nothing. I wasn't supposed to land there.
It's starting to make sense. Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to land there.
Yeah.
So I went boom, and it bucked me, and I went ah! and I was like, I was so committed that I was like, fucking, I just like pushed, like you can tell in the video, I'm like, pushing as hard as I could. And I kind of was just like, close my eyes and just lean back, and I was like, all right, maybe I'll just like, like just kind of bump it over, and I just hacked that shit.
Yeah. Watch out.
Straight up, and I just went straight over the bars, and since it was carpet, it like when I landed, it was like, like I like literally no slide, no,
just
nothing,
full force to the shoulder.
And like I literally like remember, and I was like looking at all the judges, and I was like, oh my god, I'm literally drifting like into them. Like I was like, there was like TV screens and shit everywhere. Like I was like, like in my head, like when I ate shit, I was like, oh, that was pretty bad. But I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. Like when I fell, I was like, oh, that was kind of a bad fall, whatever. And luckily, like Biz was just right there, and he just pulled his phone out and just filmed that clip and was like, oh shit, Trey fell, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I landed, I kind of pushed myself up, and I was like, oh, I'm good. And I was like, oh, my arm kind of hurts, like right on my bicep. I was like, oh yeah, it kind of hurts a little bit. And I lay down, and I was like, man, my arm really hurts. Like, damn, yeah, my arm is fucked up. It really hurts. Yeah, it really hurts. And then then the medic came over, and I was like, they're like, yeah, we think you broke your arm, and all this stuff. And I'm like laying there, and it was crazy. I ended up not breaking anything in my shoulder somehow.
Dope.
And I went to the doctor, and they like kind of moved my arm around. They're like, yeah, we don't think that you have anything like major like ligament damage, but you have like extreme like bruising throughout your whole shoulder. Like it was like my muscle was like shriveled up, like it was like tiny, and like just from like not moving my arm and just like and
how long were you out? Like how long has it been since that contest? And you're all that was my next question is do you still feel it right now?
Yeah, for sure. This morning I was like, fuck, man, my shoulder kind of hurts. Like it's kind of like sore. Like
that's wild.
But it happened on my birthday, July 31st, which was great. On my 30th birthday.
Happy birthday.
And, well, yeah, it was a really great birthday. And then but yeah, so I'm good now. I'm all right. Like they wanted me to go get an MRI on it just to make sure that nothing was torn. And my MRI denied it. They wouldn't pay for it. So I was like, fuck it, I'm fine. So
how much is an MRI outside of insurance?
I think it was like $2 or $3 grand or something like that. And I was like, screw that.
No thanks. Good. Yeah, we're good.
I'll be all right. Like
just put me down. Just put me down, Doc. I'm not worth saving.
But yeah, so it's all right. It's definitely not great, but yeah, it's okay.
What's the most like because it became a meme. I saw it everywhere. What do you remember? When you're scrolling through Instagram and you see you just got tagged in on this account, what was your I don't know.
The craziest one?
Yeah. What was the craziest one?
I mean Sports Center posted it.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
That was pretty crazy. Like I think that was probably yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
I know a bunch of famous rappers posted it, but I'm not really like familiar with too much rap stuff, so like I don't really know. But a bunch of people were like, "Yo, so and so posted it," and I was like, "Oh, I don't know who that is, but that's cool, you know." Like
Young Gucci Gotti or
yeah, but
one of those guys.
But no, it was pretty crazy. It definitely, but what's weird is that on my Instagram, like that rail to backflip I did at Swampfest has like way more views than that one does, than the crash does.
Yeah,
it's really strange, but not as many people reposted it. So it's like I was like, huh, that's weird. I wonder why that one has more views than that one does, but that one didn't go as far. But I don't know. But
the algorithm is a beast we'll never understand. You know, fucking crazy.
Yeah,
do you think about that shit?
Yeah,
you got a pretty good following, and that's valuable.
I definitely think about it, but like I'm just a firm believer in like if you post good shit, people are gonna see it. That's just like my mentality about it. Is that it's like I don't think it's like, oh man, if I would have put the right thumbnail with my face going like, you know, doing a crazy thing with everything highlighted, then my video would have exploded. It's like,
nah.
If your video's good, if it's good, it's gonna get seen.
Yep.
Like period. You know what I mean? Like
agreed.
If you post something and nobody comments on it, then nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Like that's just a fact. You know what I mean? And like, trust me, I post shit all the time that everybody's like, what the fuck is this? I'll post like some stupid King of the Hill video or something like that, and nobody cares. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's funny. I'm not doing this for like other people's like entertainment or some shit.
Yeah.
You know? I just do it because I like it.
Into doing what you think other people want, and then you're just stuck and you're not even having fun with it, like, and it kind of loses.
I mean, I understand it. It's just like whenever people become like a slave to it and they're like, I have to post an Instagram video today because I have to prove that I'm riding, or I have to do this or whatever, and I'm like, I don't really care, man. I mean, whatever. Like, if it's like, if people are stoked on my content, that's cool. But like, I know a lot of people aren't. I mean, a lot of people don't like this shit.
Yeah.
Fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, like I understand people don't like that, and like, and I understand that people like I'm anomaly when it comes to that stuff. That like I'm a weirdo, and I'm cool with that. I get it. If I post something and nothing gets any views, I get it. Like that's cool, man. Whatever. Like I love it. Like to my Instagram, I do whatever the fuck I want. Like I don't care.
That's the attitude you gotta have. That's fire.
But yeah, so
let's stick on no fun for a couple more questions. What's your personal favorite clip from that project? I'm gonna close these blinds.
Favorite clip. Let me think about that for a second.
Ponder on it.
Trying to think about. Like my thing is that I think about like the spots and shit, and like this like it sounds so cliche and so stupid to say it, but like I remember like the experience of the clip.
Yeah.
Like
That's not cliche. That's real.
The line that I did in the pool, in the indoor pool in New Jersey, was just like a cool experience, even though it's like not that crazy, it's not like that crazy of a clip. But it was like I've always wanted to ride an indoor pool, and that one was really cool. And like Garrett Burns was there and he went with us, and it was
That's
like a cool
rad, yeah.
it was like a cool experience, you know what I mean? Like it was just a cool thing. The clip where I ride that metal half pipe thing where I foot planted in and then turn around to the 180 table. I like that clip too, just because it's like, I don't know, it's just a weird spot, and it's like, I don't know, like I can't really think of like. It's weird because like I had been wanting to do like a gap to wall ride out of a real pool for a while, and I did that one that's in Phoenix. There's like, it's like a clip where I drop in, I do this crazy carve, and I like pop out. I do just the wall ride.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do that. I've been wanting to find a setup like that for a while, and I did it, and it worked really well, and I was really stoked on that. And then like 2 days later, I did another one where it's the line, where I pop out and I do the gap to wall, and then I drop in and I carve over the love seat. So it was really weird that like I've been wanting to find a gap to wall out of a pool, and then I did,
and then you got two
in one trip, 2 days apart. I also like that. I like that the line one where I do the gap over the love seat, because Gregson filmed the one on the deck, and then Chadwick filmed the long. So it was cool, like, because those are both my dudes that I like to film with. So it was cool, like filming a clip with like both of those guys like in one clip. And then if you notice, I do the line, and then there's a fish of me going over the love seat. And if you notice on the love seat one, I don't have shoes on, which a lot of people don't notice.
Huh. Why?
The second angle is I go over the light and then over the love seat. I'm not wearing shoes. We had filmed that like first thing in the session, like because I just emptied that pool and I wasn't wearing shoes, and I emptied it. And Chuck's like, you should do something with no shoes on in the pool, and I was like, all right. So I carved over the light and over the love seat, and then I just ended up doing a line later with that same clip. So he just used that one. But you can't really tell because when I'm wearing slip-ons, you can't really tell like that I'm noticeably not wearing shoes. So it's kind of like a cool.
Still though, that's a cool little Easter egg.
But it was cool. Like I love filming with Gregson and Chadwick both. So it was.
Yeah, how did Gregson get involved with this? Because he's come up a bunch lately, like epic bowl.
Yeah,
filmer.
I heard he's Chase Hawk's favorite filmer, which I was so funny.
Which is so sick. But what's it like filming with him? Oh,
Chris is great. He's it's funny. I just love. I literally talk to Chris probably like every day. We just connect on every level when it comes to like we both like the same shit. We both like heavy metal. We both like filming. We both like skateboarding. All that stuff. Like, and I'd always like talk to him through Instagram, like before I met him, because I was just stoked on what he did. And then he came on a trip to Florida with Tom Shar and Trey Wood and my buddy Tim that shoots photos now for Thrasher. And he was like, hey, I'm coming from Florida. Like, could you show us around, or you should come meet up, or whatever. Nice. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. So I showed him around Orlando, and we went to a few spots, and we filmed a few clips that ended up being in that Vans video that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just filmed a few follow lines, and he's like, yeah, I have these clips, like, we'll figure it out, whatever. And when he was in Florida, I was like, hey, there's this guy named Corey Walsh. Like, he just moved to San Diego. Like, you should link up with him. Like, him and his crew, like, I think that you would be really down. Like, you guys would work great together. Like, and because he had never really filmed BMX before. Like, well, he knew Dennis Anderson since they were super young. So he had known of Dennis, but they weren't like, I don't think that they were like super close, but like he had filmed like a few little things of him, but nothing crazy. And then he had wanted to film more BMX just because he was stoked. Like, he was like, yeah, this shit's awesome. I can go super fast. You guys are super fast, super high. Like, it really like tested his filming capabilities. Yeah. Like, he had never really filmed like something that gnarly before, like as far as BMX go.
It's a whole nother level. I imagine filming a skater, because you're also on a skateboard, makes a lot of sense. But then to be able to try and keep up with a bike is just out of this world, and he does such a good job. What do you think is like what project, or what do you think is like? Can you think of a clip off the top of your head that he's filmed that's just like perfect and difficult? Like, I know him riding around Anderson's backyard ramp was pretty incredible to me. And then I watched a couple of there. I was like seeking through some of those Vans videos that he made. Like, what clip that he's filmed sticks out in your head?
I can think of one, like, for me personally, that I filmed with him that I was like, whoa, that was crazy. Is that I did this line at the Vans outdoor park that's closed down now. It's like an abandoned skate park in Orlando, and I filmed a line in Live Fast where I did like a no-hander into this dish, and then I aired this quarter, and I carved around. It's kind of hard to explain. You gotta see the clip. I carve around, and then I go into this dish and I do a 360, and like he was filming fish following me, but like I was coming from over here and he was filming fish, and I come in and I do a three, and it's like you like literally like my front wheel, like I spin and my front wheel goes like right towards his lens, and then
So
right
sick.
away.
Yeah.
And it's like when you see the clip, it's like he was just kind of like just winging it, like, okay, he's gonna come through here, and like I know he's gonna spin, he might come towards me. So it like, but it like linked like so perfectly that I was like, that was like the moment where I was like, damn, like this is like a completely different, it's a completely different animal
Yeah.
of filming. Because when I film with Chadwick, it's like me and Chadwick work like, I love Chris to death, but me and Chadwick work like that. Like it's perfect. Like it's no, there's no like I can tell him a clip the way I want it filmed, and he's like 100%. Like he knows exactly what I'm saying. Because when I'm filming something, like say it's like a curve wire to alley 270, I'm like, hey, I want it fish like from this side. When I come in, I want to like pop out. I'm right in front of you, and he's like, yep, got you. Like, and
Yeah.
he does it exactly the way I'm thinking. Because like when I'm filming stuff, I kind of have like a vision of like what I'm wanting, like
Yeah.
how I'm
That's a
wanting it
big part of
filmed,
it.
like, and Chadwick knows that, and he thinks very similar to me on like on like what we want. Like I can be like, yo, there's that that clip in that props in in a props bio where the guy does hit this certain table, and
Yeah.
he's like, yep, got you. Like like he understands exactly what I'm saying. So when we work together, it's like perfect. Like
Yeah.
I get the exact result that I want every time. Like he just gets it because he's so straight to the point, and he's not doing like a bunch of crazy effects. It's nothing crazy. It's just kind of just two cameras straight to the point. And whenever I met Chris, he was the same way. Like he was one camera just in the bag, no crazy gimbal shit, no nothing, just one handle that was held together with duct tape and a camera on it, and that's it. Like it's
That's so
straight.
sick. Yeah. I love
And
that.
but with Chris, it's more like, since he's a skater, I have to explain tricks to him. Like I have to
Right.
explain like, hey, I'm gonna do this air. It's kind of like a backside air. I'm gonna kind of kick out. Like you can kind of get it, fish from the deck, whatever. But now that I've worked with Chris so much, that I can kind of be like, hey, I'm gonna tabletop this quarter. And he's like, oh, on the deck, fisheye. That'll look good. Yeah, you got it. Like
Yes, he's learning.
or like I had to explain to him like with like the no hander thing, filming fisheye. I'm like, hey, you can't be next to me because you won't see my other hand.
Yeah, you got to be
It has to either
behind or
be
in
in
front.
front or it has to be behind.
Yeah.
So you see both hands. And he's like, oh, okay. So now when I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do a no-hander, and he's like, okay, front, back,
Yeah.
he picks up on it really well on
Yep.
like what works and what doesn't. So
That's
he's getting
interesting because
better
there's
at
like totally different rules and angles for like, I'm trying to picture myself filming a skate video right now, and I would be that guy of just like, okay, I don't even understand this trick. Tell me
Yeah.
which side is best. Like, there's rules, or not rules, but like best practices when it comes to filming. It's like curve wall rise 270. I can picture exactly what you're talking about, where that fisheye needs to be.
Yeah.
And it's just from experience. And dude,
Well, it's like
Chadwick's been doing it for so long. Anyway, go
yeah,
ahead.
he knows. But,
Yeah.
but I can like reference a clip in an old BMX video to Chadwick, and he's like, oh, okay, got it. Like he knows like what I'm thinking of in my head. And and
You guys are nerds.
he knows what I'm referencing. He knows what I'm
Yeah.
referencing, and he knows what I'm thinking of. So I don't know. Like I've just worked with him for so long, and we just get each other. We
Yeah.
click, and and he knows exactly what I'm going for. He knows exactly how I want my shit to look, and
How did you
like
first
whenever
meet Chadwick?
I met Chadwick on we did that Interbike trip. We went from Interbike to SD and we stopped through Phoenix. It was right, I was on that Chrome bike, so it was right when Colt started. It was probably 2010-ish.
Okay.
And we stopped in Phoenix. Or no, actually, no, wait, he went from us, he was in Vegas with us. And it was a huge crew of guys. It was when John Paul was the TM. And it was like me, LaShawn, Ditchburn, Paul Ryan, Nikki Croft, Miles Rogish. There was a bunch of people on that trip. It was a lot. It was a lot of people. And he went too, and he stopped in Phoenix, and like I hung out with him and got to know him, but like I knew Miles better at that point. So like I was more like he was like filming, but Chadwick was filming second angles. And then because
of that filming for Goody Days, feels like. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like Goody was a thought at that point. Like I think that they were like working on it, but obviously like they had switched filmers so many times that it was like
I do remember like the era, or not, not even era, but the period of time where Miles and Chadwick were working on shit, and there's like pictures from there's some image in my head right now of Chadwick filming fish that actually got turned into a sticker, and he's like on a car.
Yeah, Miles was grinding that truck.
Yeah, that's
what talking about a truck. It was that was that trip. So that was that trip.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That era. And because of that trip, John Paul was like, oh, this kid's pretty responsible and he's good at filming. Maybe he could be the TM. And then a year later, or not even, Chadwick ended up moving to Florida. And I got to just work with him then because he was just, I was young and like new. I had like I wasn't even on the pro team yet, I don't think. No, because he had because we filmed together. When I filmed my Welcome to Pro video, Chadwick filmed that. And it was right when he had moved to Florida. I was still in high school. I still lived at my parents' house at this time.
That's
so
crazy.
it was a long time ago.
Yeah. So you guys go way back.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. So that was 13 years ago. 12 years ago.
Yeah. Maybe. That's a long relationship, man.
Yeah. It was a while. No, probably, yeah. It was 20, yeah. So it was about 11 years ago, 12 years ago.
Is there any talks of future projects with Chadwick at the moment?
Yeah. We've been kind of talking about a few things. But like I said, man, it's so hard to ask a sponsor, like, hey, I want to film a part. Can you fund the entire thing? Yeah. You know, like that's asking a lot, you know what I mean? And especially if it's going to be worth Chadwick's time, he's got to be paid accordingly. Right. Because I don't want him doing something like, I don't want him like doing a project and not being happy with what he's making. I want him to be stoked, you know? So it's like, it's a balance, but I think I am due to like film another part. We've actually been, me and my brother and Marcel and Dave and Big Boy have been filming a full length in Florida. Actually, we've been working on that for like probably, I don't know, a few months now, like just kind of just messing around, but we want to film for like a few years and film parts because we always want to go out and ride and shit together. So
it gives you a good goal to.
I was like, hey, like, why don't we just get some cameras and start filming? So we've been just kind of filming and.
What cameras?
I just have like a shitty. I'm trying to see if I have it in here. No, I don't have it in here. But one's just like a Rebel T5i that I got for like $100. Yeah. With like a Rokinon fish, which is like obviously me. I'm not trying to make something that's like this, like, you know,
super masterpiece,
cinematic masterpiece. You know, like I don't really care. Like
that'll get the job done.
Whatever. And that's fine. And then I have like a Sony, like a handy cam that has like a zoom on it.
Perfect.
Like, for filming long shit. Because like I said, like I grew up in the age with Chadwick where it was like you have one long with a zoom on it and you have a DSLR with a fish. That's all I want.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Like and have a light for going out at night and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any other shit. I don't want a gimbal. I don't want some crazy red camera. Like I'm not like
it's minimalist. That
doesn't interest me, you know.
That's how it should be.
But because I was filming like a lot of shit with like a TRV and it got to the point where it was just like it was so bad. Like the footage of it was so bad. And I had like an old laptop that I have to capture with, and it just got too much where I was like, I'm getting too old for this shit. I
I'm
gotta like
so
I
over
need to
the
get
tapes, bro. I can't. I'm working on this second mediocre, and it's just I don't want to do it, dude. The capturing the tapes is like my least favorite part,
yeah.
easily.
It's gnar. It's a gnar process, and it's cool, but it's like it's just I don't know. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But
Uh, so let's go back to the early days because I'm interested in your like I've been watching you since I was 18. So and you were just a young buck riding the Florida ramps and stuff, and then you got on Colt. Like, what was your first sponsor? Did you grow up racing? Like, just give me a brief history of your like sponsor.
brief
fucking
history.
story.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I started racing when I was 4. My dad raced when he was a kid. So when I first had to ride without training wheels, he took me to the track, raced for a few years. Uh, I was born in 92, so I started racing in 96, 97 era. I don't know. Then raced for a few years just because that's what you did. I didn't know anything else. I like to jump my bike, and racing was what you did. And then Chattagoo opened Mission Skate Park in 2001. And I found out through the local bike shop that there was a local pro that opened a skate park. And I was like, I had gone to like Badlands and like a few other like skate parks in Orlando, but I didn't really like think that you could do anything. Like I was probably 7, 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there. But when Chad opened Mission, it was right down the street from where I grew up, and it changed my life. I was like, this is way cooler. This is way more awesome. There's no rules. There you don't have to. There's no competition. There's no nothing. You just show up and just ride for as long as you want. Do as many laps as you want. It's great. So once he opened Mission, that kind of changed my life. That was the one that really opened my eyes and opened my eyes to the people around me and my friends that I still have this day. And then Mission turned into Mesh around 2006, 7, somewhere around in that era. And then I was probably like 12, or no, wait, I was 13, 12, 13, 14, somewhere around that era. And then I guess my first like legit sponsor, I would say, is that I got let me think for a second.
I remember you riding in these skate parks, and I
Yeah,
guess it
indoor
must have
park.
been after you were sponsored. So that indoor park
Indoor
that you're
wooden-
known for is the
Yeah.
indoor wooden park. That's Mesh.
Indoor wooden parks were like my life. That was
Yeah.
that was it. I think I got on Nike first.
Hmm.
I think Losi started sending me shoes first.
That's
and
a
then
pretty cool first
and
hookup.
maybe like a year after I got on Fit. I think that was the next one. Yeah. And then I got on Shadow right after that. But I remember looking at like the caller ID on my parents' house phone, and it said Mark Losi, and I was like, holy shit, like that's the guy that shoots photos of Dave Mira. Like,
yeah.
oh my god. Like, so I remember just seeing like every photo in the magazine, like if it was a photo of Dave Mira, it said Losi, and I was like, holy shit. Like, and I just kind of obviously like I wasn't going on the internet and shit at this point, so I was just like looking at like a million magazines, and just I remember just seeing Mark Losi's name everywhere. And when I got that phone call, I was like, oh my god, Jesus Christ, this is crazy. And he asked me if he wanted to send me shoes and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, sure. And that was sweet for a while. And then I got on Fit. Robbie just was like had contacted Chad and was kind of like, hey, what's up with this kid in Orlando? And he kind of backed me, and I got on Fit, and that was sick. And then I didn't get on Shadow. I remember Ronnie asked me to ride for Shadow. It was my first, like, I mean, I wasn't pro, but it was my first like pro contest. Was a Baco contest at Mesh, and Ronnie was talking to Taj in the parking lot, and he was like, hey Trey, come here, because I had grown up going to like UGP and like buying school clothes and shit, because like my mom was good friends with Ronnie's then wife Rachel, and like they used to get their haircut at the same place and stuff like that. So I had always known Ronnie as a little kid, like when I was probably like 7, 8, 9 years old, because I would go to the Roots jams growing up, like 2001 Roost Jam was the first spine I ever jumped, like first street spine I ever jumped, and I was like 10. I got a clip in a Shine video jumping that spine. I was like, that was like my first clip in like a video. I was super hyped.
Yeah.
But then so fast forward, it was probably 2008 maybe. I saw, or 2009. Ronnie was talking with Taj in the parking lot. He was like, "Hey Trey, come here. I want you to meet somebody." He's like, "This is Taj, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Yeah, I know who this is, you know?"
Yeah.
Like, I was like, "Holy shit." And I met him. And then Ronnie was like, "Hey, I ask you something, like, come here." And like, and he's like, "Hey, would you be down to ride for Shadow?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
So at that point I rode for Fit and Shadow. And
can you remember who was on Shadow at that era? Was this the Carl Pointer era?
Yeah, that was Carl Pointer, Seth Kimbrough, Alistair Witten, Byron Anderson, John Jennings.
Shadow was cool back then.
Dave
I mean,
Reitel,
I'm not saying they're not cool anymore,
Ricky.
but that shit was cool back then.
Well, it was just always around the scene. You know what I mean? Like it was always like it was just normal. You know what I mean? Like going to the skate park and and Alistair Witten was there was normal because he was in town visiting Ronnie. Like it was just a normal. Like I had always grown up around a lot of pros, like especially between Chad and Ronnie both. Like Chad having Mission, and it was like, you would go there and be like Aaron Benke and Dave Asado and Dave Frymouth and like all these legendary Baco dudes. Like they were always around the skate park because they would always come down in the wintertime to visit Chad. Yeah. So I'd always seen that growing up. And then with Ronnie being there, always those dudes always rode for UGP, and it was always like this like connection, But yeah, so then when the whole cult thing happened, right around the same time I got on Vans. I got on Vans. I remember I got on Colt and Vans like almost the same time. Cause Nike was kind of at the point where it was like I remember what it was that like Colt started. And Robbie was like, "Hey, I'm starting this new brand. I want to put you on Colt. I want to put you on the pro team." And I was like, "All right, cool." And then at that point, like I was kind of like, "Well, what is Nike? Like, am I going to be on the pro team for Nike? Like, I don't think so. I don't think that's ever going to happen." So I was kind of like, "Hey, like, I think I'm done with this stuff," because Nike wasn't the coolest brand ever. Like, and I was at that point where I was like, "Oh, this shit's not really that cool. If I'm not going to get to the pro team, like, is it really worth me being here?" Type of deal.
Yeah.
And like Batters had already said he's going to send me shoes. So I was like, I'd grown up wearing Vans. So I was like, I might as well go ride for Vans. It makes more sense, like, and there was a future there. So that just kind of worked out that way. And
was it Colin McKay back then still?
No, Jerry Batters was the TM at that time.
Okay.
He was like the head. I mean, Colin was helping with like shooting photos and shit like that.
Yeah.
But Colin didn't become TM of Vans until probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe less.
He's done a tremendous job.
Maybe 5 years ago, before, I don't know, somewhere around there.
But Vans team is looking good right now. And then, so tell me about the Colt to Sabrosa back to Colt.
I knew you were gonna bring this up. I'm trying to think about how to say this with it not sounding weird. So at one point I was like, man, my future's with my future's with Sparkies. Like I was at 24, 25 at the time, maybe something like that. And I was like, like my future in BMX is I'm gonna work at Sparkies, and that's just gonna be what I do. That's gonna be, like what else am I gonna do with my life? Like that's all I can really do, and Ryan had reached out, and I talked to Ryan and stuff like that, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to have you." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I went to Sabrosa. I was super thankful for everything Robbie did, and that was great. And then for a few years, and then I at that time, like Sparkies was like, we were doing a lot of trips. We were doing, we had just filmed What Could Go Wrong. Like we were doing a lot of shit, at that time. And then obviously, like, things kind of slowed down a little bit over at Sparkies and with Sabrosa trips and stuff like that. And then I had me and Kelsey were out in California having on vacation, just hanging out. Like I was actually staying with Gregson and his chick's house. And I was like, "Hey, Robbie, let's get dinner one night," because the whole time that when I quit Colt right for Sabrosa, me and Robbie talked the entire time. Like he would honestly, I honestly might have talked to him more when I didn't ride for Colt than whenever I did before, because there was nothing to gain. It was just kind of like, "Hey man, how you doing? What's going on? Yeah, you see this?" Like we would just talk industry stuff, just talk, just as friends, you know what I mean? Like it never never once ever wavered our relationship at all. Like
So
whenever I told Robbie I wanted to go to Sabrosa, he was like, dude, I'm like, I'm stoked that you're thinking about the future and you're thinking about all that stuff. Like, that's awesome, man. Like, hell yeah, let's do it. Like we'll figure it out, and he was like literally the best. Like, and him and Robbie and Ronnie the whole time were like, they were solid,
yeah.
they were good friends of the whole thing, like they worked together. Like, it was awesome. And I had dinner with Robbie in California probably last year, 2021, maybe. I don't know. I'm so bad with years. And we were talking, and Robbie was like, yeah, I was actually I was gonna see if you wanted to come ride for Colt again. And I was like, wait, really? And he's like, yeah, man, like I would love to have you back. If you ever want to come back, just let me know. Like, like it's, and I was just kind of like, oh, all right, like, okay, like, and I was like, yeah, let me think about it, and I kind of just like thought about it, and I was like, what if I did do that? Like, would that be weird? Like, and I was like, oh no, it'd be kind of cool. Like, I don't know. Like, those dudes are doing, like, Cole was doing so much at the time. Like, I mean, still, like, they do, like, I think that was one thing that I really missed about riding for Cole is that they have Vish in California as a filmer full time, and they do so many trips. Yeah. That was one thing that I really, really missed is like being on the road and doing so many trips with those guys.
Yeah.
And I kind of started thinking about it, and I was like, man, maybe this is the right thing for me to do. Like I did try the Sabrosa thing, and it was fine. Everything was great over there. Like I had I still see Sure all the time. I still ride for Shadow. Like everything's great. Like, but I think it was just like, I think for me at this point in my career, like Colt is the best option, and
dude, from the outside, like it feels so natural for you to be on Colt just because you were there, like for the beginning, let them talk,
Yeah. And that was the thing, is that it's like, I just felt like it was time for a change. It was just time for a change. And Robbie reached out, and I was like, fuck, man, like I have to think about this purely as a pro bike rider. The biggest brand in BMX is offering me a spot on their pro team. Like, kind of stupid if I don't take this. You know what I mean? Like I had already tried the Sabrosa thing, and that was awesome. It was great. But like Colt is just doing so much. Like they're such a great brand. And like Robbie was like, yeah, you come back, give you a frame, do all these things. And I was like, damn, dude, all right. Like as a pro bike rider, I had to take the opportunity. Yeah. That's just what it was. You know what I mean? And whenever I went to go tell I told Ryan, and Ryan was like, yeah, dude, I get it. Like it's all good. Like he's like me as being a pro bike rider, like for all those years, I get it. Go do that shit. Like it's awesome. We're all good. Everything's fine. Like they still have Snow and Reese and all these dudes. Like it's not any different.
Yeah, sure gets it.
It was just like it just worked out. It just worked out perfectly, where it's like I'm still involved with Sparkies. I still ride for Shadow. I still work with those guys all the time. I literally saw Ryan yesterday. Like, like it's like everything's all good. You know what I mean? So it was just an opportunity that I was approached with that I couldn't really say no to. And I'm stoked. It's great.
That's sick. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest? Because like in the industry, this is kind of a one-off, but like I've seen Sparky's operation, and I was blown away. Like how like tight of a company it is, and all the moving pieces, and it's like a big machine and everything. Like it feels like a family working in there, and it's super sick. And then I've never really toured S&M or whatever that's called, the building, or Colt's operation. Like, is it all kind of like, in my head, I think Ronnie and Robbie are the best like business owners in BMX. Would you agree? Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's fucking interesting. I'm so interested in the like.
They're just different. They're like literally like they're polar opposites on most things, but like they both are brands that excel tremendously. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like,
which is interesting.
Ronnie is way more like, and nothing that I say is a slight towards the other brand. It's just different the way they do things. Ronnie is super hyper organized when it comes to marketing department, accounting department, art department.
Right.
Like these guys do product development, they do research. Like it's very, I mean, it's like,
yep, cogs in a machine.
It's like they are trying to be like a real official business. Like it is official. You sign contracts for your agreements. You get royalties at this exact down to the cent. Like it's just like extremely precise. Precise. Where Robbie is way more of like, There's no contracts. Like he'll be on the phone. He'll be on the phone with Taiwan talking about a frame, then run in the back and pack an order, and then get on the phone with Chase Hawk about his new frame, then run out and go ride the skate park. It's just like it's way more loose. It's way more loose, and it's a smaller operation. It's just like him and like 4 or 5 other dudes at the warehouse. Like, and it's just different. That's all it is. It's just different. And Ronnie has been doing as a company owner since
forever.
Robbie has been a actual company owner since 2010, even though he did fit since 2000, and he pretty much ran that entire brand, no matter what anybody says. Is that in 2010 he became an official company owner, and the fact that Colt has only been around for 10, or 12 years,
and it's where it's at.
It literally is the biggest brand in BMX.
Yeah.
Like if you qualify biggest, I mean, they have double the amount of Instagram followers of any other brand.
Yep.
Like they obviously
partnerships with fans, like all this shit.
They own the industry. Like as far as like,
they definitely are the coolest brand.
It's just different. It's just different.
And they have like Colt has more international riders than anybody could even fathom putting on. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, right. And Robbie is I think Chase said it in his podcast where it's like, I think Robbie is the greatest talent scout of anybody else in BMX.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
Like there's no arguing like with his credentials. Edwin, Chase Hawk, Chase Dehart, Dakota Roach.
Yeah.
Like you can't like he literally is the best talent. If he sees something in somebody, they're valuable.
Yeah.
Period. Like there's no he knows more about all the like kids that like we don't know about than anybody I've ever met.
Which is wild because you would think he's too busy running a company to have his, to know.
I honestly don't understand it. I don't understand how.
I think he just loves it. I think he's obsessed. So that's
he loves BMX with all his heart, and it's like he goes to the skate park like almost every single day and rides. Yeah. Like he's like somebody that has met Robbie will tell you that like he's the greatest. Like he's the nicest dude ever. Like he's the best. Like
I had one interaction with him at an Interbike in like 2018 or 2008 or 9, and loved him ever since. Like he's got that, I don't know, the charm. He just said something nice to me like in passing. Just like, oh, you're that kid from Arizona that goes backwards. Keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, oh my God.
And I guarantee you he knows. I guarantee you he knows. Somehow he knows every single thing about it. Like he knows, like he knows all the mediocre videos. He knows it's all filmed in VX. He knows you're working on another video. He knows it. Like he knows all of it. He knows all of it
dude.
Somehow. And it's like, how do you have that much storage in your brain?
For real.
Like know that about everybody.
Yeah.
He knows what everybody is doing. Like, it's crazy. It's insane.
He's got his finger on the pulse. I want to talk about Swampfest next.
Go.
Melvin, get out of here.
Go. What do you want to know about Swampfest?
Well, from the business end of it, I'm curious about like how, I mean, honestly, if it's up to me, I'm asking like, how much money are you asking from each sponsor, and how does it all work, and where does it all go, and like how does it work? How does it start? How, like the first one, you just like, I have an idea, and then you hit up the companies and you say, would you like to be a part of this? And then the people who do, they donate, and you build ramps, and they cover the cost of the wood. Like, how much does it actually cost to run the shit? Is it, and I just want to know how it works.
It costs a lot.
Yeah.
So pretty much like when I started it, we had done an event a few years ago, probably 2012, at my friend's house, with some pallet ramps and shit like that, called Band in the Backyard, and it was cool. We had a bunch of ramps, and it was sweet. He already had trails at his house, so we just built like some wood and like pallet ramps, and it was cool. We had like a few hundred people show up, and it was sweet. And I'd always wanted to do another jam, and then probably 2017, I think 2017.
17 was the first one.
17 was the first one. So my buddy Jeff Honeycutt bought.
I love Jeff Honeycutt.
Yeah, he's wild. He bought 10 acres in Geneva, Florida, which is like kind of out in the boondocks of Orlando. And he was like, hey, we should do a jam here. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. He's like, I'm down for anything. Like, he's a wild dude. He was down for anything. I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. So I literally started like, I had a trailer and I would load up a trailer full of pallets and I would drive it like 30 minutes out to his house and like build something. And I did that like every day for probably like, I don't even know, probably like 3 months or something like that, something crazy.
Yeah.
And I built all this wood, like it literally was all things that I found in a dumpster or I got for free or like I probably spent like a few $100s my own money, like of like scabbing shit together. But and then when it started getting closer, I was like, oh well, maybe like my sponsors could help out a little bit. And like I got like a tiny amount of money. I think like Vans gave me like $500, and I think I got like a few $100 from like Colton Shadow. And I was like, all right, well, we got this little bit of money. Like in Florida, you can't dig jumps out of the ground. You gotta buy clay, like orange clay, like baseball clay, and it's like $300 a load. And you can usually get about maybe like you can build like probably 2 jumps with it.
That's interesting. Why can't you build jumps from the ground?
Pure sand.
Okay.
Like literally impossible. Will not pack. It's like impossible. Okay. So you have to every dirt jumps you see in Florida. Well, I mean, there's a few spots that like they hit like little honey holes where it will work, but most of the time it's nothing.
Right.
So I took that money and I bought a few loads of clay with it. And we built the jumps with it. And I was like, all right, this is cool. And then we got some other wood donated to us where we built like the roll in, and like it was all just literally just all donated time. And like we had like 1,000 people show up, and it was pretty nuts. Like it was in somebody's yard, and we built this shit, and it worked out. And I was like, damn, that was cool, sweet. Like that was a cool event, you know, whatever. And then like a year later, Ronnie and John Paul Rogers hit me up, and they're like, hey, you gonna do another Swampfest? And I was like, I don't know. I don't really have any money. Like,
it's a lot of work.
How do you do it? Like, I can't really build all that shit again. Like, it was kind of insane. Like, and they're like, no. Like, you get sponsors, and then the sponsors give you money, and then you take that money, and then you build shit with it. And I was like, oh, really? Like, wait, what do you mean? Like, people would give me money to like.
Because they've been throwing jams. They did the Roots jams, and they did
like Ronnie did all this stuff, and they kind of like broke it down to me where they're like, you have to find a facility that you can do this at, and you pay them to rent the facility. And then you get these sponsors, and then they give you money. And when you get enough money, that's how much money you have to do the event with. And I was like, oh, okay. So they kind of helped me like figure out how to do this thing. Like I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I know how to build ramps. That's it. Like and not even good. Like I know how to just get shit right
together. Yeah.
And so they kind of helped me with that, and like they helped me like pitch all the sponsors and get money, and like I turned out like enough people were interested where like we got enough money to do like an event out of it. And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like we actually have enough money to do this. And we did it, and it was sick. It was awesome. That was the first Astatula one that we did. And then the next one was like, okay, now people know what it is. Cause like the first one we did, we had 1,000 people at. And then the next one we did, we had like 1,500 people at. And I was like, oh shit, okay, it's growing. And then I did another year at Astatula, which was in the field. And the sponsor money back got like a little bit more people were interested. So I got to build more shit. I got to hire more people and do things like that. Because like I didn't even like literally when we did the first one, it was like it was just like people coming out and like wanting to party for the weekend and build some shit. Like, you know, like we weren't paying people to do this shit. It was like, hey, come on out. Like, we're going to build them shit. We're going to have a fire and stuff. It's going to be sick. And people will just come out and like grab tools and just like start building shit. Like, hey, look at this funny ramp I built. Oh, that's sick. Like, it was like so ridiculous. Like, it's fully renegade style. I have no idea what we're doing, which is still what's happening. But like, it just got more and more where like the sponsors got like, where it became like more organized and more like, okay, like this is how much sponsorship packages cost. And By the way, I'm not gonna get into like how much sponsorship
Of
packages
course.
cost, how much the event costs, all that stuff. All I gotta say is like I could buy like a really, really, really nice car with the amount of money that I buy in plywood and burn to the ground to nothing.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Is that it's like people are always like, why don't you like save the ramps? And I'm like, save what? Like literally save what? Like we're slapping pieces of wood together. Like
Yeah.
you literally can't get it apart to use. Like this is anybody that comes to a Swampfest on Saturday night. If you want to take anything that you can use at your house, go for it. I don't give a shit. Just don't touch the skate light. Skate light's the only thing we're not allowed to. You're not allowed to touch any of that.
Okay.
But like the plywood, it started out the first year where it was like, yeah, we'll just take all the pallets and we'll burn them, and then that way it'd be our way of like getting rid of everything, and it worked great. And then we did it again, and I was like, damn, this is awesome. Like this is a huge fire. People love this shit. And then it like got like the third year, whenever we had the loop, we had the loop to the open loop, and we burned that shadow coffin. That was when shit got like kind of out of control as far as like it got scary. Like that was probably the most scared I've ever been at. Like, oh my god, like what have I done? Like I think this might be like too late, because
you're gonna set the whole state on fire.
Well, what happened was they had, if you see the videos, there's this big wooden stage that's right next to the event. It was like a big like balcony. We did flatland shit underneath it. It was like this big stage. They had just built it. It was like built really, really nice. Like the event space had built it. And he's like, yeah, if we do a fire, we just can't do it next to that because I just built this stage and it cost me like 50 grand to build it. So we got to like make sure everything gets over there. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, we'll burn the shadow, because the shadow coffin was like on the other side over by the dirt jumps. And I was like, I'll just get people to take shit apart and throw it in the fire, and everybody can just like throw shit in there. And that started out great. Like it started working when we were at the shadow coffin on fire and people started like ripping the loop apart and stuff. It was crazy. It's crazy what people can do with just like enough people.
Yeah.
In like pulling something. Like they can literally like move mountains.
Just like ants. Just like ants working together. And
yeah, it's crazy.
If you could like watch from above, it's just fucking chaos.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And we had this van. We had this van on the course, and everybody's like, let's flip the van over. And it's just like, you know, people just like get like when they get hammered, they just get these crazy ideas like,
yeah,
let's flip the van over. And it's like, yeah. And they all like rock it and they flip it over and they're like, yeah. They're like, let's flip the van back over. And then they push it over and they flip it back over. They're like, yeah. You know, it's just like, it's such stupid humor, but it's amazing. It's just the funniest thing ever. And while I was like, keeping everything at bay of moving the stuff over to the fire, somebody lit the van on fire.
Oh, shit.
Next to the stage.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh no.
Like if the van catches on fire, the van explodes, it gets on the stage burns down. Like that's on me. I owe $50,000, you know, like this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God. And then all of a sudden, like the owner of the property comes up to me and he's like, what's going on? People are burning me down. Like we got to call. And then I look out the road and it's just like cop cars, like one after another, just like 20 cop cars pouring in, like fire department. And I'm just like, oh God, like this is getting crazy. And,
yeah.
And like everybody was raging so hard.
It was Burning Man, Florida style.
Yeah, but it was not like, it wasn't going as planned. It was like getting pretty out of control. And the metal band was playing and like people were like just raging, and like the cops were coming to me and they're like, you gotta tell these people to stop or we're bringing in like the, what do they call it? Like the riot squad.
Yeah.
We're gonna and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So I literally had to get on the mic, and I was like, I stopped the music and I was like, hey, everybody, like, please calm down and everybody go back to your tents and go party back at your tents, because the police are here and they're about to shut the whole event down. And if the event gets shut down, we will never be able to do Swampfest ever again. So if you want Swampfest to happen next year, like, please just go back to your tent and party there. And literally everybody like looked at me and there was like, yeah, and everybody walked back to the tent. Like literally like
that's awesome.
Like 2,000 people just went,
just zombies waking up like,
and the cops looked at me like, how did you do this? How did you? And I'm like, the only reason people are raging is and like acting this way is because they think that they're allowed to.
Yeah.
Nobody's here in anarchy like against Swampfest or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing like that. And I think whenever I saw that happen, it like I was like, holy shit! Like that made me like realize like my whole mentality of the event of like people are here to have a good time, and they're that respectful of what's going on that they're willing to like stop on a dime and change what they're doing. And like that was like pretty awesome. Like that was like that literally like made me like have like hope in BMX of like, damn, like people actually give a fuck. Like they actually care. Like they actually care what's going on. Besides Vic Bem running to the other side of the course and lighting another car on fire whenever I told everybody to chill out. Everything was great. Like that was all awesome. And then, but it's made me like realize like, okay, when we do this fire, when we do these things, like I have to keep it in an area where it's like there's nothing else around, it's completely safe. Like I can literally let the entire course burn in place and nothing gets messed up, and that's fine. And I think obviously it rained last year, which sucked, but we still got to do a fire. But the past 2 years at Spider have been great because I think that we've finally like figured out how to do the event properly and how to like organize it. And like the event, the people that own the event, they do the security on the event. So like, and then I can just focus on doing the event and making sure it's like focused, making sure Crandall has the mic and making sure like we're like moving along schedule. And like I can focus on like the things that I need to focus on. I don't have to like go run after some kid that's lighting a tire on fire at nearest tent. You know, like I shouldn't be worrying about that shit. Like I need to be worrying about like what's happening and how the ramps are being built and like, you know, things like that. So
it's nuts to see how far it's come from just that ratty backyard thing to this. Like it's probably one of the biggest events in BMX, if not the biggest. Like everybody from all the way from, you know, the East Coast to California, they all make a road trip to Swampfest. It's like part of the BMX culture now, which is pretty fucking sick, dude. Good job.
Yeah, it's cool because like I don't know, like I don't like I never want to like boast about it being like Swampfest is the biggest event, blah 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 blah. Like I'm not that's not it. It's just I want to hit a different demographic than the normal person. Like I want to hit the working man like graphic, like the working class person that's like they're working 9 to 5 and they just want to go party on the weekend. Like I want that demographic. Like there's enough events for like guys like Dennis and Garrett to go win. Like this isn't that. Like, this isn't like this is like if pros want to show up and shred and like have a good time, hell yeah. Like that's more than that's great. I want that. Like that would be awesome. Like Nick Bruce showed up to the last one and he was riding and I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. Like what are you doing here? Like that's awesome. Like this is awesome. But like this event is for the working class and this event is for the people that like it's like you don't have a VIP wristband to get behind the scenes. Like you're not just in the stands watching me perform.
Yeah, you're not special. Yeah.
Like I'm a circus bear or some shit like that. No, like you're on the deck next to Garrett Reynolds, like just riding the same shit.
That's
and
dope.
It's like that's like the goal. That's the whole goal of it is like to like I want to create a lifelong bike rider. I don't want to sell a bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't
Swampfest for the people.
But it's true. It's like it's so corny and ridiculous to sound, but it's like I hear like the whole Olympic argument where it's like, yeah, the Olympics get more people into BMX. I'm like, yeah, but they're not creating lifelong BMX riders. You're not creating an experience. If a kid goes to Swampfest, you damn sure believe that kid's gonna remember that the rest of his life.
Yeah, for real.
He's not gonna go, I remember what changed my life. I saw the Olympics one time. No, that's not like, you know, it's that's great for what it is, but like I'm like trying to create like me and my dad went to Swampfest. We camped in a tent and like I remember I woke up and like I saw Van Homan like walking through like cooking eggs on his skillet in the parking lot and like that's unlike anything else. And it's just kind of happened. It's not like we were like, okay, we
gotta make the biggest event.
Like this is the whiteboard and like, you know, first a year, do event with sketchy ramps. Next year, get sponsors. Like it wasn't like, it's just like, it just kind of happened. Like, and now it's to the point where it's like, it's I've seen it affect so many people that it's like we have to keep going. Like we have to keep doing this. And it's like so many events like Metro Jams or Backyard Jams or any of these events, they happen for 2 or 3 years and then they're done.
Yeah.
And it's because like they don't have like they like lose sponsorship funding. It's like that. And like I've had a lot of big sponsors back out. You know what I mean? Like the event, I've had and I'm not gonna name names and like, I'm not gonna call anybody out or whatever, but it's like I've had big corporate sponsors that have been like, hey, this event is too dangerous and we can't associate ourselves with you because you guys are too gnarly. And I'm like, damn, so the event is too cool that you can't sponsor. All right, sick. Like and that's a huge, like some of those sponsors are a huge chunk of change, but it just results in, all right, gotta scrap this shit together. Like I literally went and took apart Stone Edge Skate Park, a wooden skate park by us, because I needed to save money because we don't have enough money to build ramps. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go take the skate park apart and take it out there and have lumber to use because it's free. Or I found some guy that's selling plywood on the side of the road at like a surplus dealer. And he's like, yeah, I get a bunch of like old subflooring from buildings that I resell it. I'm like, hey, if I buy a bunch, can I get a discount? He's like, yep. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's another way we can do it. Like sick. I build it out in pallets. You know what I mean? Like I don't pay, like, no offense, but I don't pay Ryan Corrigan to like, a good wage to like build ramps or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm out there not by myself. I have an amazing crew of people behind me, but we're all out there, labor of love, swinging hammers, like, to get this shit done.
Just because making it happen,
you know what I mean? It's not like it's this big corporate thing that like, we have this big all right, well, we have $100,000 to spend on this marketing event this year. It's like, no, dude, like we got this much and that's all we got to deal with, especially when plywood goes up to $100 a sheet and then you burn it all. Like it's like stressful. I'm like, dude, I gotta figure out how this business model is terrible because we're spending all this money and then we're lighting it all on fire. Like we gotta figure out a better way to do this shit. Like
it's not sustainable.
No, it's a terrible business model, but it is what it is. And I'm not gonna sacrifice the look or the vibe of the event to make more financial sense, which is terrible to say.
No,
but it's
not. That's good.
Like we're gonna build a crazy loop. We're gonna make a full set of trails. We're gonna have a mud rail. We're gonna have all these things. Like no matter what it costs, like we gotta make it happen. So
yeah,
it's
so there's no foreseeable end to Swampfest. The people can expect Swampfest to keep going.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's for the people.
Even if we get down to where everybody thinks we're too crazy and they can't sponsor the event, but it's funny because it's like these corporate sponsors that want to get involved, they're like, oh, it's too dangerous. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't you ask me what my insurance policy is? Why don't you ask me what the injury count was at Swampfest and how it happened? Because I can tell you, nobody burned to death in the fire. Nobody suffered a life-altering injury on the rail loop. Nobody got buried alive in a tunnel. The worst injury was a kid broke his femur riding through the parking lot on mushrooms and fell into a pothole and broke his femur, and some kid got knocked out really bad on the little kid jumps.
What is your insurance policy?
Huh?
What is the insurance policy on it?
Well, I'm not going to go into detail about that, but luckily
insurance is a thing and you got that.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the good thing about doing it at like a motocross park is because they are liable and insured to do motorized sports. We're talking about people that are going 40, 50 miles an hour and jumping 70 gaps. Like when somebody gets hurt doing that, it's not just like, yeah, I need some stitches. It's like, we're going to the hospital, the kid's in a coma. Like, and that was one funny thing is that the person that owns Spider was like, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at how little injuries you guys have. And I was like, I don't know, man, like people got pretty beat up, like, I mean, it's typical BMX shit, cut on the leg, like typical shit, like, but like, he's like, yeah, but when you guys built these like crazy loops and stuff like that, like I thought people were gonna be dying. And I'm like, I mean, people get hurt, but like nobody is attempting a 16-foot tall loop unless they know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm not like, I don't have like some dad from the parking lot, like, oh, I'm going to try to go upside down and they break their neck. That doesn't like, that's not like people think that that's what's happening and it's not. It's some like
shit happened at Dawn of the Streets this year though, huh? Right?
I mean, yeah, but that's just like, but yeah, I was there, but it was just like, that's just like I mean, that's why it's called a trick. It's fucking dangerous. You know
True.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the whole point of it, is that it's
Yeah.
like, why are you trying to trick? Because it's really hard and it's dangerous and you can get hurt. Yeah, no shit. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole point of it. I mean, take the danger out of it, then what's the point? You know, like, but it's just interesting because like for how crazy Swampfest is, we don't like, and knock on wood, like we don't really have like life-altering injuries like at every event. Like it's not like people are jumping in the fire and getting burned alive. Like
Yeah.
people are stupid, but they're not that stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like so.
As crazy as the people are, they all like they get it. You know, or
Yeah,
most
and,
you could say most people get it. You know, there's some fucking wild fools that'll
well, it's like it's always just like it's always stupid shit. Like a girl fell off the top of the container because she got hammered and walked up there in the middle of the night and like fell off it and hit her head. And it's like,
Yeah.
what, that has nothing to do with BMX. That has nothing to do with BMX. That has nothing to do with like I can't help that. Like that's just stupid shit. Or some guy
shit. Yeah.
breaking his leg in the parking lot on mushrooms. It's like, come on, man. Like that's not my fault, you know? Like it's you know, it's just that's just like stupid shit that's gonna happen no matter what. But it's like they see somebody light themselves on fire and jump into a pool of water and they're like, that guy's getting hurt. It's like, no, that guy knows what he's doing. Like he knows what he's doing, and he's, you know, he's not like just some kid that lit a shirt on fire and getting burned alive. Like these things are like, it sounds ridiculous to say, but there are professionals. Like, you know, like it's like it's ridiculous to think about in those terms, but like that's what happens, you know. But
I have this visual of Denim Cox jumping off of a big truck into a small puddle. What's your favorite? What's the moment that sticks out in your head from all these swamp fests? Like the first thing that comes to mind, like the craziest shit.
I don't know, man.
I know there's so many, but
that loop rail was pretty crazy. Like that was like one thing that like I had the idea in my head that I was like, where's you could build like a loop rail? And I was like, it'd be kind of hard because you want to fall off. Then I was like, well, if it's a roller coaster rail,
yeah,
it could probably work. And my buddy Dan, he's like a master machinist, fabricator, like just crazy guy. I was like, yo, you think we could build that? And he's like, yep, I could do it. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
So he built it, and like when I like started looking at it, I'm like, it makes sense. Like when you see it in person, you're like, yeah, I mean, that's what you do. You hop in and you just hold on and you go around it. Like it's nothing. Like it makes sense. But I was like, I don't know if anybody's gonna do this. Like it's pretty crazy. Like it was big, dude. It was like 12, 13 feet tall. Like it was big. And
who did it first?
Only one person's done it. Noah Monroe from here, from Ormond Beach.
Shout out Noah Monroe. That's dope.
And he actually was the first person to grind the first swamp rail at the first Swampfest.
Nice.
It's crazy that he did the first swamp rail and he did the loop rail, and nobody else did it. I mean, Boss Hog jumped on it and flung himself off it a bunch of times.
Yeah. I
and the thing is that you have to have somebody that knows how to like confidently backflip stuff and like understand what's going on, but can also grind, you know?
Yeah.
And Noah could do both. And he hopped on a few times and was like feeling it out. And I was like, because I know how he rides. He's a local kid around here. And I was like, yeah, he can do it. And he hopped on, and when he did the first one, he like hopped in and like actually looked and like started going. I was like, oh, he can do it. And he hopped off a few times, and then it just clicked. And he did. I was like, because I was stressed. I was like, dude, what if I build this thing? I spent all this money to build this thing. That thing fucking cost $5,000 in materials and all that. It's ridiculous. And I was like, dude, if nobody does this is gonna be the biggest waste of money. It's gonna be a letdown. Like it's, you know, like, and when he did it, I was like, thank God. Thank God he did it.
Hell yeah,
if nobody would have done it, it would have been the biggest embarrassment ever. Like, great. Like, that's always the thing, is that when we build something crazy, I'm like, really hope somebody does this. Like, I really hope, like, but the problem that I'm seeing is that it's like I always wanted to have no prize money in Swampfest. I didn't want there to be any prize money. I didn't want anything. But what I'm realizing is that is that people need something to entice them. Like, people need something for, like, listen, man, if I'm gonna do a 16-foot tall loop, like, it needs to be at least for $100 or something. Like you have to give some people some type of a a reason.
Prize.
Yeah, something like that. So I think this next year I'm gonna try to like figure out a way to like do some type of prize or something, because it's just
Swampfest trophy would be sick, dude. Alligator.
I did it one year. I did like alligator heads that I gave away one year, just as prizes. But I think it's yeah, this year I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure out something, because I'm realizing that it's asking a lot of people to do a rail loop for no money. I'm realizing that. So I'm like, okay, like I gotta figure out a way to like give people some money or something. I don't know. But that's it's a work in progress. But I mean, after going through all the COVID stuff and everything like that, it's been a tough road, but we're getting, hopefully we're back to it and back on schedule and every year now. So
I'm happy you live in Florida, because like during COVID, Florida was just kind of normal. Like
I'm definitely happy I lived in Florida too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Arizona was a little bit behind Florida as far as just like kind of fuck it, let's just be normal and carry on, keep calm, carry on. That's feels good to be in a place like that. Like it, and then you go to these cities like New York and California, and there's still people outside wearing masks, and it's just like, dude, what are we doing over here?
It's pretty wild. It's pretty nuts. And I mean, thank God thank God I'm from Florida. Like I seriously think about it all the time. I'm just like, my God, I could have grown up in like Missouri or Ohio or somewhere like where it's like not sick. I mean, I literally grew up, and you did too. Like you grew up somewhere that people go on vacation to. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't really realize that until I got a lot older about how lucky I was to grow up in Florida. I knew a lot of people hate it here, and but I love it. It's home, and
I hated it actually when worked out. There.
Oh yeah, you lived there for a little bit. How do you feel about?
I moved there right as soon as the summer started, and I was working for Sparky's, and
that's the worst time of the year.
Yeah, and I sold my car so that I could get out there. So I'm just carless and flat ass, big ass Orlando, and I would ride my bike to the train and pay $5 both ways. I'm not making that much money at Sparky's, and I'm sitting there editing in a corner when I could be editing from home, or like, why am I here type shit. And then it kind of felt like a dead end. I asked like, can I get involved with other meetings? How can I grow with the company? And it just kind of was like, no, just make videos, dude. And I was like, okay. And then I just went into a fucking depression. I was living with John. He's an older guy, nice guy, but I was just like alone, fucking broke and miserable. No car, no life, and no visible future. I was like, I'm going back home. I went home before I even got to experience like the good Florida weather. I want to do a Florida trip and come see Sparky's again and go in the winter.
Florida's it's not for the faint of heart. I've seen a lot of people come and go.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying like I'm some tough guy. I'm not saying like I'm some tough guy or some. I'm just saying I've seen a lot of people move to Florida. They're like, this place sucks. I'm like, yeah, I like it that way. I like it. I like the fact that nobody likes it. I like it's home. It's great. Like it's brutal. It's a brutal place to exist.
There's that whole like meme about Florida man does this, but that's like a misconception. Did you know that? Because like Florida's rules about media press, you can like Florida allows the press to share, what's happening like crime wise. So there's always these articles of like Florida man does this crazy thing.
Yeah.
But that crazy shit is also happening in every other state, but there's laws saying that you can't share it on the media, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh,
so
I didn't know that.
The whole Florida man thing is like a misconception. Like there's craziness everywhere. Florida's not the craziest place,
It definitely is. It's definitely pretty crazy. Though.
Yeah, no lie, it's crazy.
The Florida man is a real person. It's definitely,
and it's you.
No, it's not me. I definitely am not. I'm not like caught on the side of the road naked with an alligator, holding up a store or something like that.
Let me pause real quick. Hold on. All right, we're back. We're back from the pause.
So you want me to ask you that question again?
While we were paused.
Oh, so Bobby.
So by the way,
Bobby, how did it come about that you got to do a podcast with DIGBMX.
Well, I started doing a podcast just for fun, and I thought it was a cool experience. The first one was with your boy Chadwick, and I would just go to all my homies and set up a camera and talk, and it was like a thrill because, like, you're on camera and you're on record, and it's just doing something for the sake of doing it. And then it sizzled. I stopped doing it for a while because doing it in person is like a whole ball game, and you can only do so many local BMX riders in Arizona. So I was just like, yeah, and I stopped, and it stopped being consistent, so it stopped growing. And then this last batch, Stu Johnson hit me up, and he was like, you gotta bring the podcast back. And I was like, fuck, Stu, yes, okay. So I hit up, I was like, Stu, will you do it? And he's like, I want to do it in person. I'm like, okay, fine. So I hit up Daryl Taco, and then Daryl, and then whoever the next episode after him, Wes McGrath hit me up and said, what's your email? And I was like, why? And then he said, because Will wants to talk to you. So Will Smith and Fred Murray got on a call with me, and they were like, we've been wanting to do podcast stuff. We think yours has potential or is good, and would love to partner with you on it. So I was like, fuck yeah. So it's nothing like official, but no contract or anything. It's still, technically my podcast, which was important because I didn't want to like suppose the star shot chance of like it actually becomes something you can make a living off of, which I really doubt, and I don't need the money but like if it did, I still want to maintain rights to it. So it's just a partnership, and it's pretty sick, and I don't know, cool. It's like validating, so
that's sick.
Kanode Knows brought to you by Dig, and so they get it on their channel. I still put it on all my channels, and it's just like a shared BMX podcast. And I'm sure I wonder what would happen like if I do an outside of BMX guest. It just maybe not go up on Dig's channels or whatever. But yeah, I'm trying to be consistent, man. We've done it every Monday for I think like 12, 13 Mondays in a row now, which doesn't feel like that long, but it's a long time. It's a lot. So I'm stoked on it, man. And yeah, it's just validating. Like I said,
I think it'd be cool if you did people outside of BMX too.
Yeah,
I think so. I think it'd be sick. I think it'd be even cool. Like if you I think if somebody like Gregson would be a good one, because
I would love to do Gregson. Yeah,
because it's like he's outside of BMX, but he's also like kind of like stepping foot into it, and he has like an outsider's perspective of it, which is like really cool.
Yeah.
So
anything filmmaker related, like I would love to talk to Joe Simon about like what he's up to and how he built.
That's a good one too.
His shit.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That was my theme when I got back into it. I was like, filmers, let's talk to filmers, and then it just trickled off. Chad Shack, dude. Yeah, where you at? Shackleford. Got to do that one. I actually did Dustin Lee last night. I recorded an episode with him. He's Dustin, not Justin, and he works for Gary Vee now as like a content strategy guy, which is super interesting. I don't know if you know who Gary Vee is, but he's a big business influencer, and I got to talk to him about his job. And he also rides BMX, and he ran Rodeo Peanut, and like fizzled out of that shit and started working for Gary Vee. And I was like, that's fucking interesting. So we talked last night.
That's sick.
All right, back into it though. I want to know about like you, because I was so stoked that you're a homeowner, like. And when I lived out there and I got to come to your house, like I was like, damn, Trey Jones owns a house. What's the story on you buying a house? When did you get it, or when did you buy it? What went into it? Like,
yeah, so I pretty much lucked into it.
You lucked into it?
I had no idea. So what happened was that I had moved out when I was pretty young into a tent at my friend's house. I lived in a tent at the Castleberry Trails for probably 6 months, and then I lived in a trailer on the side of the house for a few months. No, probably like a year at that point. And then when the trails whenever the house that we were living at got condemned and taken over by the city, I got a duplex with my buddy Chris, and I was paying like, this is probably 2012, 2012. And I was paying like, I think it was like the total was like $800 a month, but we were splitting it. And I don't know. I just thought that's what you did. And I don't know. I didn't think anything about buying houses. I made no money as a bike rider. I didn't think like it was even like a possibility.
Yeah.
And my grandma is a real estate broker, and she was like, "Hey, have you thought about trying to buy a house?" And I was like, "What? I don't. Rich people buy houses. I can't do that. You know, like I'm living on a pro bike rider salary. I can't do that." And she's like, "No, the housing market right now is like pretty crazy. Like it's insanely low. Like you should probably look into buying a house." And I was like, "All right, like." Yeah, I guess. Like, I guess I'll look into it.
Shout out grandma.
And
That's fucking awesome.
she
When is this?
she what year?
Yeah.
The end of 2012.
Okay.
So it
Gotcha.
was like terrible. Like it was like as cheap as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
And and I so yeah, I started looking in the area, or she started helping me look in the area, and figured we went and looked at some houses. And I was like, yeah, I was like, it'd be cool to have a house I could build a ramp at. Like that'd be sick. Like I was like, can I afford that? Like, and at the time, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Longwood was going for like 100 grand.
Fuck, dude.
And and I found this house that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
3-bedroom, 2-bath, backyard, driveway. I mean, you know, it's like
Yeah.
it's a legit house.
It's a
I don't have
dope
a
house.
garage.
Yeah.
I really wish I would have had it. I really wish I would have looked for a house with a garage, because now I'm like kind of paying the price where I just have a carport.
Yeah.
But I've literally like redone everything in the whole house, but I end up getting this house for 108, which is pretty crazy.
Just curious, what's it worth now? Because the market's exploded.
More.
500?
More. It's worth more than that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I literally was talking with my buddy Dave the other day, and I was like, I can't believe that that was like the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. I think that it's literally set me up for so many different things, because I have so much equity in my house at this point that I can, like, you know, you can borrow against that stuff. You know, you can borrow equity in a house and stuff like that. So it's like if I ever need to buy like a brand new car or whatever, like
you can make power moves.
I could go do that, you know, and things like that. And it's just helped a lot. And I'm really fortunate, and I'm really stoked that I fell into this position. Like I didn't really like I said, like anytime everybody asks me about the house stuff, I'm like, man, I'm not an expert. Like I just like I was at the right place at the right time. And
yeah, shout out grandma.
Luckily I live in Florida. You know what I mean? I live in a place that is like, you know, taxes are cheap, and you know, the housing market was pretty cheap. And like I hear about people buying houses like right now, and I'm like, oh my God. Like I hear like these numbers, I'm just like
I just looked into it this year, and I was like, it's too much, man. It's insane. I'll rent.
Like I'm very, very fortunate and very lucky, and I'm just like appreciative, because I've realized that like that is like one thing that like I'm really just happy with, because it's like I like to collect shit, you know what I mean? Obviously, like I collect tons of junk, like and I wanted to have a ramp, and it's just like all these different things that it's kind of allowed me to like, where it's just a nice thing that me and Kelsey don't have to worry about, you know, as far as like, you know, oh, and one day we want to buy a house, we have to save a shit ton of money to do that, you know, all that stuff. So yeah.
Were you with Kelsey when it happened?
So it's pretty funny. We started dating, and I'm trying to think of the timeline here. We had started dating. I don't know. We had started dating, and she had came down for a little bit, and then went back to Jersey. And when she went, like, we had started dating, 2 months later, she came down to Florida for like a month, and then went back to Jersey. And then I remember I texted her, and I was like, "Hey, I bought us a house." Yeah. Like, and she was, and I remember she like told her mom, like, "Yeah, Trey said he bought a house." And her mom's like, "What? Are you serious?" Yeah, like, because we were both like, I was 19 when I bought my house, and she was 18, and we were both like, and she's like, "Yeah, what? Like, is that like a big deal, or like what?" Like she had no, we both had no idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was just like, so when she came back, she eventually like moved down here. It was in that I don't know. I'm so bad with the timeline of stuff, but it was pretty much where like she lived in that duplex with me for like a month, and then we went straight into living in this house.
That's fucking awesome.
We've been here for almost 10 years now.
How long until you proposed?
I think we were together for like 5 years, 4 years.
Nice. Did you do anything special for it?
No, we just went out on my boat, and I have like a little tiny John boat that we all go out in the Wekiva, and I just proposed there because I didn't want it to be like, I had seen like some people around me that like had been not forced into proposing, but it was like the girl was like expecting it, like, okay, like tapping her foot, like,
Yeah.
you need to propose, like,
Yeah.
I'm not getting any younger. And I was like, I didn't want that to happen. Like, I wanted it to be like genuine, like, no, like, I don't have, I really, I don't have to propose to you because we've been together for so long. Like, I genuinely want to. So I wanted to make it like genuine. So
That's
yeah,
fucking awesome.
married for 5. I'm so bad with times. 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Good for you, man. Is there any I don't know why I'm interested
don't
in
ask it. Don't ask the kids.
Are there any dogs in the future?
I don't think it's coming. No, I'm good with Melvin for right now. That's not, no.
We love Melvin. Rest in peace, Jesco.
Yeah, he was the OG. Jesco OG. But what other questions do you have for me?
All right, so the rapid fire section at the end. What makes a good BMX video?
Simplicity, good music, and good editing.
Pretty solid. Who's your favorite rider to watch to get stoked to go ride? Like, you have the ultimate collection of old school riders or old school videos. Who gets you the most pumped to go do your thing?
I don't really get like pumped to go ride. I don't like, I don't know, like,
we're past that phase.
Who do I enjoy to watch ride? Vic Murphy's probably like one of my all-time favorites. Like, he's like one of them. I love like Tony Cardona, like S&M era.
Oh yeah,
that
he was amazing.
If you look at like his riding in the era and my riding now, you're like, oh my god, he's just a copycat pretty much. And Davey Watson, he's another one that.
Oh my god, Davey Watson, great choices, dude. Holy shit. Let's stick on Vic Murphy for a second, because I feel like you know BMX like history pretty well. Did Vic Murphy invent any tricks? Like, I was trying to think of like questions to ask you of like old school shit, but I don't know enough. Like, tell me like who invented,
the so this is my deal. I know about and love the era that I grew up riding. That's it. Like, I'm not like a nerd where it's like I want to know about like the 80s stuff, because I didn't grow up in that era. I have no connection to it. I have no like it's cool, it's awesome, but like I don't remember as a kid seeing like a Mongoose Moto Mag. I didn't. Like, I love the shit that I grew up. Like, I remember seeing these jerseys as a kid. Like, that got me stoked, like, so that's what gets me stoked now is like, nostalgia of like when I was a kid. But
okay, that makes sense.
I don't want to like say that I'm like a BMX encyclopedia when it comes to like everything, because I'm definitely not. But like, as far as like Vic goes, like, the thing with Vic is that I respect people that are original. I respect people that are different from everybody else. I respect people that have always done their own thing, and that they don't change for anybody, or they don't like that I don't respect shit about keeping up with trends. I don't respect shit about people wanting to fit in with shit. I don't that's not my gig. And Vic is like the epitome of like, this is what I do, and that's it. Like, there's no compromise. There's no influence at all. Like, there's literally like, there's nobody that he was influenced by that made him ride the way he does. It's literally just like pure like expression, just like out of him.
Yeah.
And like, that's sick as fuck.
That's pretty dope.
That's shit that I respect, and like, I like, sounds so lame.
Is there any Vic clip that comes to mind when you think of Vic?
I don't know. His Dirt Bros section is insane, where he's just like, there's like these clips of him where he just like, he does this fast plant on this bank where he like does a fast plant, and he just like pulls the bars up, and you can tell that there's so much energy and there's so much like inside of him, like, that he's trying to like get out in like this fast plant, that like he just does like the craziest like yoked, like, I don't know, it's just so sick, where like you can just tell that he's just like he's just so into it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like when you see people do like a tabletop and they're just like they're so like they're just like they're flexing like as hard as they can.
Yeah.
Like that shit is sick to me. Like
I
that shit's
agree.
like that's like pure like you're like it sounds so lame to say and so like cliche, but it's like your soul is like coming out like where you're just like you just can't give it enough. Like
Yeah.
and that shit's like that's dope. Like I love that shit and like don't get me wrong, like technical shit's great and like that stuff's awesome. It's just like whenever I see people that are just like fully like 100% engulfed in like expressing themselves and like who they are on a bike is like that shit's dope. Like that shit is so sick to me. Like I love it. Like
so on that note, who do you think in the BMX industry right now is doing exactly what you're saying? Like who do you think who are your favorite current riders or up and coming riders that are doing what you're saying, like just being true to themselves?
I'll admit I don't really watch anything. Like, I don't like,
I'm with you.
and I'm not saying this in like a very negative tone. I'm not saying this like a weird like jaded guy thing. For me, it's like if I get too much BMX, like
it gets old, dude.
Like coming at me, like it ruins it for me.
Yeah.
Like I have to like, I try not to follow any BMX at all on Instagram. Like, I try to like disconnect as much as I can of like when I go on my Instagram, I want to see like old heavy metal stuff. I want to see VHS tapes. I want to see wrestling stuff. I don't want to see BMX.
Okay.
Like I don't need to see your new manual clip at the Advanced HP park.
All right, give me three pro wrestlers that I should look into.
But as far as bike riding goes, and people that I see, you know, and that like I respect, and like I'm like that's awesome, is like Joey Piazza for me is like I see him and I'm like that dude is sick as fuck because he's doing him and he's gone through so many different like waves of BMX as far as like the early animal stuff to current day, and he's like still going out there, he's still getting it with the new kids, and he's riding exactly the way he does, and like I respect that. Like I respect
AMPM video
like that's so like good. And he's like he's a school teacher. He does his thing. He goes out and rides on the weekends. He knows every nook and cranny of it, all of New York City. And like I don't know, Joey's just somebody that like I really respect and I really admire like what he does. And I think that's sick as fuck. I think Corey Walsh is probably another one that like I know it's completely opposite end of the spectrum, but like Corey is like he's given it all he's got. Like and he's on the gas at 24/7, and like it was funny because I know he would hate to hear me say this because I've gotten to spend a good amount of time with Corey over the past like year or two, you know, like with him coming to Swampfest and both us riding for Colts like that. But he like I think he is physically pushing the boundaries of what is physically possible on a bicycle as far as like not tricks and not like height, but like capabilities of like how you can ride a bike. Like riding up a wall, like in Hastings in the pocket, riding up the wall ride, airing, lip slide, back into a vertical wall, back into a quarter.
It's so fucking
like things like that are like a normal person wouldn't really like be able to pick up on, that he like I don't know, man. It's just like it's unlike anything I've ever.
He's special, that's for sure.
It's unlike any. I think that like we were talking about this the other day is that it's like what makes a great bike rider is like a combination of like confidence and skill, you know, like, and a guy like Garrett Reynolds is like his confidence is so high of like when he's gonna do, let's say, bar manual whip down a rail, he's not even like debating if he's gonna get bar to manual. Like he's already thinking about the whip. Like his confidence is so high on like what he's doing that like, and his skill can back it up. Where it's like a lot of you, it's like you can be confident all you want, but if you fucking suck, you're not gonna win. Like, his confidence and skill are both so high that it like makes him this like freak of nature. And Corey is on that same level where it's like whenever he goes to try something, his confidence is so high of like, no, I'm
like,
going
this will work.
This is going to work and I'm going to land this. And his skill is on the same level to where it makes him like it's crazy. Like it's seriously nuts. And I think like obviously him and Joey are on two complete polar opposite ends of the spectrum, but it's like, for me personally, like, and this is just my opinion, I don't want it to sound like I'm talking shit or whatever, but it's like there's such little cool shit in BMX going on for me that it's like, from what I see, what I'm personally interested in, that it's like when I see something really cool, it makes it really, really, really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like seeing like that new AMPM video, I'm like, dude, this is what it's about right here. Like, or the new chocolate truck video, or like, you know, or like all the fast loose stuff. Like it's so genuine and it's so real and it's so, we're not selling a product. It's so, I don't know, like it just has, I don't know, I just love
it's
it.
For the love of the game. I love
that shit. I love that shit. And it's that shit's inspiring to me. Like that shit's like, it's sick. Like, especially when dudes are working a full-time job and doing that shit, it's like that's when I'm like, they're dedicated. You know what I mean? Because I see so many pro bike riders that like they make a good amount of money and they're just like kicking back, like, all right, what's my next trip I get to go on to? And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing to make any of this better? Like, you're not doing anything. Like, you're just sitting back and you're taking from the industry, but you're not like you're not making it better. Like, you're not doing anything. Like, yeah, you have a clothing company, but what does that do? That's like, you know, like, so I don't know. That's just my opinion though. Sorry to go on a
no, I love it. That leads us into like, give some advice to maybe a kid who just got sponsored or a kid who wants to get sponsored. Like, just young riders. What do you say to them?
I don't know, man. It's hard.
You kind of just said it.
I don't know.
That's not what BMX can do for you, but what you can do for BMX. That's what you just said, basically.
I mean, it's true. It's like, I mean, if you think about it, it's like BMX is this boat, right? BMX is like a boat. And when you're taking a check from it, you're like adding water to the boat and you're making it like become heavier and like sink more. And if you're not like bailing the water out, like the boat's going to sink, you know? So it's like, you gotta do shit, whether it's making a full length video or doing an event and I'm not saying this is in like a high and mighty way of like, well, what I'm doing is perfect. I'm not saying like, I'm not saying that. Like, I'm just like some fucking shitty bike rider from Florida. I'm not this like, I don't know. I don't want people to get that idea that like I'm high and mighty, but it's like, just do your part. Like, just do your part to like, go do a jam with your friends, go make a video, go go film a part, like do something like,
contribute.
If you sit around and wait for opportunities, I can promise you they ain't gonna come.
Yeah,
like,
make shit happen.
They're not gonna I mean, look at Garrett Reynolds. He made a full length video with his friends. He's the best bike rider in the world. Why did he need to make a video of him and his friends? He didn't.
Yeah,
but he did, and that's why he's the best. Like, you know what I mean? It's like there's people like that like they contribute, and I don't think it's like a thought where it's like, oh, I really need to contribute to BMX and so I can make my career better, so I'm going to do this. It's just like, naturally some people have it and some people don't, like, and it's just like some people are just like, I don't know, like, I just got my Instagram clip though, like, tagged my sponsors, and it's like, what does that do? That's boring. It's not doing anything. Like, look, I put out Instagram videos all the time and I tag my sponsors. That's my job. I got to do what I got to do. But it's like, you got to like, I don't know. Like, I just want to see people like giving a shit a little bit more, you know? Like, it's just like, I think it's so cool to be lazy. It's so cool to be like, well, I don't give a fuck. And it's like, cool, you're lame. Like, that's just not cool. Like,
agreed.
But like, it's like people that are actually like out there and getting shit done. It's like, you can't make excuses, like, you know, it's because there's a million other kids that are willing to take your spot as an AM rider or whatever it is. It's like, if somebody gives you an opportunity of like, hey, I'm going to give you a frame, like, now it's up to you. It's like, you better take that shit and run with it, man. Like, you and there's never an excuse. Like, you need to be on the road, traveling, doing trips, going to events, all those stuff, man. You know, like, it's, you gotta work for it, because in the end it'll probably pay off. I mean, obviously, look at me. Like, I only had fucking 3 tricks in my whole entire life, and I made a living off BMX. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yes,
not
sir.
because I'm a good bike rider, it's because I busted my ass to do everything I can, you know?
Yes, sir.
But it's like that's I don't know. It's just it's hard, but the situation's different for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I was lucky enough to grow up in a scene where Chad and Ronnie were around. They're two very iconic,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I was very fortunate to be like a part of that and to grow up riding in a scene that like had a lot of history and had a lot of weight to it. So it's like,
Where would you move to if you were a kid, like in Bodunk, wherever, and there's no scene? Where would you go if you were like, I want to chase this BMX dream?
current right now,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, California just gets so washed out. Like, it's great. It's got a lot of stuff, but there's so many people that like got there to make it, and it's like
Long
it's just
Beach seems
hard.
like the destination.
Like, it's, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're going for straight up opportunity, like, I want to meet people in the industry and blah blah blah. Obviously, California's it. Like, obviously that's the spot. But it's like, I don't know. I would just go
Florida's pretty
anywhere.
close. Austin, Florida, Austin, and California, I'd say are the best
I
ones
think
right now.
I think Austin and California, and even Phoenix, like even Phoenix has got like a good scene, like, but I think just going somewhere that like there's people riding and like you can be around people that are riding,
Yep.
like, I mean just being up in the city and like being, or Philly or any of that area, like there's a lot of people riding. There's a
True.
huge scene of people and a lot of people doing shit. So it's like, um, but honestly nowadays, man, like with Instagram, like, you can be from bumfuck nowhere. And like, if you go out and ride some sick spots in your town and post one online, like I said, if the shit's good enough, it's gonna get seen. Like, it's
Yeah.
just the way it is. Like, make those connections, and I don't know. I don't know.
It's a wild like era that we're in right now with this
Yeah.
transition from video parts to Instagram, but still bringing back video parts, and DVDs are still being made even though nobody has a DVD player. Like, it's a
It's hard,
weird,
man.
weird transitionary period we're in. Like,
It's hard just because there's no right or wrong answer. Like,
right,
I think that like I think a big problem is that if you have to use all the platforms, and not in a way where it's like, okay, you have to do this in order to succeed, but it's like go out, film a video part, but also be getting your Instagram clips, like, like film, just like, my biggest thing is like people take themselves too seriously, like taking things way too seriously on like,
what do you mean taking your shit too seriously?
um trying to say it in a way it's not like obvious of like who I'm pointing fingers at or anything like that, but
Okay.
just like your guys' videos are a good example. Mediocre is a good example because it's like there's a crazy banger clip of somebody doing some crazy shit down a handrail, but then it's like a manual bar spin through a fountain with like a bunch of water and shit, and it's like you guys are laughing afterwards. Like, that shit shows like the pureness of BMX. Like it's like when it's so serious and it's like you're like changing your kit like every single week, and like you're like trying to look like this pro bike rider, and you're like, okay, well now people ride free coasters, so I gotta ride the free coaster, and like things
Right.
like that. Like, when you try to keep up with trends, people see right through that shit.
Yeah, true.
People see
You
right
start
through that
dressing,
shit,
yeah, the
because
clothes and shit, dude.
like whenever you're like purposely trying to follow a trend of what's going on, like, oh, okay, everybody's doing pickup bars, I'm gonna do pickup bars now. It's like the A level pros, like the Dakotas, Nathans, Garrett's, Corey Martinez, like these, like the top tier
Yeah.
pros, like, they don't follow trends.
Yeah.
Like, they do what they do, and they're respected for being that person. And it's like, that's what you have to do, is like be genuine to who you are, because in the long run, like, you're gonna get way more respect for that. Like, trust me, whenever I went on a first cult trip and I was wearing what I wear and doing that shit, like, Dak thought I was insane. He thought I was insane. But then now that I've been doing it for 10 years, he respects me for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's cool. You know what I mean?
that
But
is
it's
cool.
like, you just like you I mean, I think Beacon's even a good example of that. Whenever it's like he came on the scene and he was so like, uh he was just a lot with like his look and the way he rode and all that stuff. It's
Yeah.
like people were really taken back by that and they didn't really like fuck with it, and they kind of didn't know what was going on. But
And
now
then
that he's
all of
been
a sudden, everybody dresses like vegan.
But the thing is, now that he's been doing it for so long, he's proven, no, this is me. This is
Yeah,
what I do. And people respect that. And that's
they
what it
do.
takes. Like that, like whenever a person is exactly who they are, people in the industry respect that. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And following trends gets you nowhere. Gets you
True.
nowhere in maybe in maybe in the real world where like you can chase money and do all the fat get rich quick, like maybe that works there, but in BMX like that shit don't fly, man. Like people are gonna see right through that shit,
Yeah.
like.
And
So
it's a
I just
process, dude, and it's a long process because, like, when you're young, you just want to learn everything and copy everything that you see. But then, like, as you get older and you have more, you realize, like, you have your whole bag of tricks. Now you get to, like, figure out your own style because, like, nobody comes right out the gate with their own
no,
style. Like, it's a
no,
developed thing, and just sticking with it.
100%. Yeah,
It's
for
fucking
sure.
interesting.
But
All right,
I
let's.
think yeah, I think a lot of people, another thing about like the younger kids thing is that I think a lot of people don't put any thought into it at all. They just like do what they see and that's it. Or they like when they show up to a rail, they're like, all right, I'm gonna double peg it. It's like, yeah, but could you like do something different? Could you like grind this thing and then hop onto that? Or just like try to be unique in some way or like utilize. I mean, look at Milky. He's a perfect example of somebody that is like people are seeing, they're like, damn, this dude's awesome. But it's like he's really not doing anything that crazy. He's just like utilizing
Choosing the right shit
he's
to
just
do.
choosing the right stuff
Yeah.
and doing it in the right way, where it's like it's so simplified, but yet it's like he's he's just doing it right. You know what I
He's an
mean? And it's like
artist.
that's all it takes. Is like when you roll up at a rail, don't just do the first trick that thinks up in your head to film. Like think about it for like 10 15 minutes. Like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I capable of? What are
Yeah.
the tricks that I could do on this? How can I apply that over there? That's what I try to teach Marcel all the time. And I try to be like, all right, dude, like you can do all these tricks. Like what's the best trick you can do on this and
Yeah.
film that? Don't just do the first thing that comes in your head, because then that shit comes out mediocre. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
mediocre at best.
Mediocre at best, dude. All right, let's play. We'll wrap it up with Mount Rushmore game. What's
Oh
your
God.
what's your Mount Rushmore of full length BMX videos?
Full length, huh?
Yeah.
For me personally,
Yeah.
or just in general?
You personally, your taste. What's on your?
Uh
I think Mount Rushmore is 4.
huh?
How many people are on Mount Rushmore? 4 or 5?
4.
Okay, 4. So hit me with your top 4 BMX videos of all time.
I'll say for me personally, as a child growing up, my favorite 4, uh Forward, Demolition Video, Wide Awake Nightmare, Nowhere Fast, probably.
Pretty
For me.
solid. Yeah,
For me. Like that was my childhood.
it's pretty
That was
good.
probably my top ones. In general, like all of BMX, like what I think, uh probably, and this is gonna vary for a lot of people.
Of course.
I think Etney's Forward, Seek and Destroy, Criminal Mischief. I don't know, dude. It's hard. That's a
So
hard.
hard. Yeah.
It's like there's Nowhere Fast, there's Etney's Forward, Criminal Mischief. Then you got like the older videos like Dirt Brothers video and Homeless Trash, and like these videos that are like people doing the first like backwards grinds,
Yeah.
like Dirty Deeds, like videos like that like I didn't grow up on those videos, but I know that they are on that top tier. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yep.
Shaq Johnson would be a better person to ask because he's more familiar with like that early 90s like era of BMX. But
Who?
yeah, for me, I'd be Demolition Video, Etney's Forward, Wide Awake Nightmare, and what did I say? Criminal Mischief? Did I say that?
I forget, but it's on the record. So
Whatever I said, those are like my favorite one. I think Forward by far is like I think Forward and the Square One video, or in Wide Awake Nightmare are like my 2 videos that like I
all
know
day.
every single nook and cranny of every single trick, every single moment.
love that.
Like
Yeah.
all of it. Like I could watch it right now and just like be like enamored with it. Like
Yeah. Me and Lufa played this one at the bar. It's okay if you opt out. He said, "What's your Mount Rushmore of riders that you can't stand watching?"
oh, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
Dude, it was so fun in person, just talking shit.
I'll say Frank, Lufa, Chadwick. Damn.
All right, let's do Mount Rushmore. We'll end on this. Mount Rushmore of current BMX riders in the game right now.
Current?
Yeah.
That I'm so done, or just like a like if I had to like make it general.
Let's do one of each. Your current. Let's start with your personal flavor, and then we'll go the objective route of
my personal flavor.
Yeah.
It's so hard, dude. That's so hard. I'm gonna do the general one first.
Okay.
Garrett Reynolds, Dennis Henderson.
Yep.
Probably Felix, I guess.
He's definitely up there now. Damn, that's a tough one.
I guess Kevin Peraza, maybe. Like those are just ones that are just like so obvious.
Yeah.
They're the best that you like can't argue with that.
Yes.
Like,
facts.
you just can't. If I had to say like a legendary, okay, I'll do a legendary one. It'd be Dave Mira, Matt Hoffman, Jay Miron, and Taj.
Nice. Yeah. Pretty good.
There's no competing with that one. Now my personal, fuck, dude, I don't know. I feel like that's weird to put personal like current day Mount Rushmore people.
Well, you kind of named them earlier: Davey, Tony Cardona, and what was the first one you said? Vic. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's a bunch of Josh Stricker's another one that I've just
like, yeah, for real.
Loved. Like I love his writing. I think like later Edwin stuff was like I loved so much. Like
so good.
Like his part in like Scavenger video and his part in like even a later Animal video, like his part in Cuts is like one of my favorite
it's just
favorite parts of like all time. Like I'm talking like Edwin era whenever he was like doing like nose manuals.
Yeah.
And a lot of whips and like that era. Oh,
just clean.
Oh
like,
my god.
It's almost minimal,
so
but
beautiful.
Just
like
him
every
doing
single
it is
thing.
Beautiful. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think, what are you doing today?
What am I doing today?
Yeah.
I was gonna go to Melbourne area to go get some leaf springs for my truck, but I don't think I'm gonna do that anymore. I think that Kelsey has the day off, so we're probably gonna work on our haunted house. In our house.
Sick.
I built a haunted house on my ramp, and we're doing a Halloween party. So
fuck yeah.
She has me slaving away on that.
So if you're listening and you're in Florida, go show up at Trey's house on Halloween.
Please do. But yeah, I don't know. That's about it. I know.
That covers it, man.
Everything's great.
Good. Any last words?
Thanks to Ronnie and Robbie and Colin and Mapstone and everybody that sponsors me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, Trey Jones. Dude, watching you narrate the Battle of Hastings.
Oh yeah, you said you wanted to talk. So you said that you wanted to talk about that. I did I do okay?
You did great, and educating Chris on the switch-footed stuff was so funny. Just your guys' dynamic was hilarious because like it's kind of polar opposite. Florida kid Trey Jones, who happens to know everything about BMX, and Chris Doyle, you would think would understand what a switch-footed thing is and an opposite grind is, but he's just acting. I think he was playing a part a little bit, and you guys were your dynamic was fucking awesome to watch and listen to.
Oh yeah,
so,
sweet.
Yeah, you did great. They should have you back.
I had never done a webcast before. I'd never done that, so I didn't really know. When they asked me to do it, I was like, yeah, I guess. But Chris really helped. I think that we worked really well together because he was really good at the okay, 3, 2, 1, all right, to you guys, and hey guys, we're here, Battle Hastings, blah blah blah. He was good at that stuff. Where I was like, I had told him, I was like, dude, I've never done a webcast before. When it comes to the riding, I got it. I'm confident. I know my shit. I'm not I think it'll be okay. I was like, I just need help with like the intro, outro, like, thanks to our sponsors, blah blah blah. Like I think I need
Right.
help with
Yeah.
that.
And
And
then literally, he's like giving you shit the first day of like, okay, we got to plug our sponsors here, Trey. And then as it goes on, you're plugging sponsors in creative ways, and it was good, man. It's really good.
I just try to be normal. I
Yeah,
just try to make it like I just try to be very normal and just
because
like,
you could easily be stiff, and like I'm not calling Chris stiff, but he's like a more on the stiff side of like corporate,
no, he's
like
professional.
professional, right? And then
He's professional.
you bring in the comic relief, and it's just a beautiful dynamic because you need Chris. You can't like you doing it alone just as a rat. No offense.
Yeah, yeah, no.
It might not work as well as like having that balance of you two doing it. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of stoked that Chris Doyle just got a signature bike again. S&M rides for S&M.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool news.
Yeah, I was definitely worried about it. But after I did, I was like, damn, that was fun. I had a great time. That was awesome. And then like
Hell yeah.
people kept saying, like, yeah, man, you did a really good job. And I'm like, yeah, are you just saying that like just to be like nice or whatever? And I was like,
Yeah.
I wanted to like, I don't know. I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to like I wanted to be like talking to you about what's going on.
Right.
Like I'm like, oh, Jordan Gomez doing switch hanger, regular foot, blah, blah, blah. Like, like I don't know. For some reason, it just clicks in my brain. So like I tried to just try to not be like a used car salesman. Like I didn't want to be like, see, opposite is whenever the rider. Like everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that shit. Like,
Yeah.
so but yeah, thank you. Thanks. I enjoyed it, and I hope I get to do it next year.
The whole production was so sick too. Just like live streaming from a drone of the rail jam. I was like, that's fucking rad, man. It makes the experience that much better.
It definitely isn't fun like being in the room and just looking at a computer screen and like trying to tell like what's going on.
Yeah.
Because there's like a few things that happen that like somebody slipped a foot on and I didn't know. And like because I couldn't see what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to like not be there in person and like tell, but like since I've ridden that skate park so many times, I know like I know what everything is, so I can kind of like tell what's going on. But yeah, it worked really good. Thanks to the source to the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Shout out Source. And shout out Dig. Thanks for watching another episode of Kanode Knows, brought to you by DIGBMX. Don't forget to smash like and subscribe. Trey, thank you for coming on. That's a wrap.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next week, Monday at 7 a.m. Big thanks to DIGBMX.